Hello. Good evening, everyone. Not to stop or stall the mingling, just letting you know, we're going to be starting in another 5 minutes. Definitely welcome to Treasure Isle here in the beautiful BVI. If you have not registered, I encourage you to register to be counted because every Vincentian should be counted in the room. Thank you. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Hello, good evening, everyone, once again. I know that we're quite excited to be seeing all of us here in one room, but if I can call your attention to have a seat, we will definitely have moments and time to speak with the Bank of St. Vincent Building and Loan and NIS. Thank you so kindly. I'm loving the excitement in the room. This was what happens when Vincentians get together. So another good evening to everyone. I'm waiting for a settle. I'll take that. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Diaspora Engagement Forum here in the beautiful BVI, British Virgin Islands, hosted here. To the Vincentian community in the BVI, to our distinguished guests, our minister, our partners, our friends. Thank you all for being here. Now, you know what they say, home is where the heart is. And this evening, I look out at this room and I see people whose hearts have never left St. Vincent and the Grenadines, no far. Yes, even though you've traveled far, your hearts still remain. No place like home. Thank you for that. My name is Shauna Brown Jacobs. I am going to be your Madame of Ceremonies for this evening, but I am the Investment Facilitation Services Manager at Invest SVG. And it is my absolute honor to welcome you to what I know would be a very memorable evening. Now, before we get very much acquainted and excited about what's going to happen today, I definitely want to ensure that we cover our proceedings. And so I'm going to turn over to Miss Okolo Fitzpatrick, who's now going to cover us with a word of prayer. And when she's finished, if you would remain standing for our national anthem.
Hallelujah. Let us pray. Almighty and gracious Father, Lord, we give you thanks and we give you praise. We give you all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise. We invite your presence among us this evening, recognizing that you are the omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent God. You are God and you are God all by yourself. And so we invite your presence among us this evening. Lord, we lift up this diaspora outreach and investment mission before you, which is under the theme, Home is where the heart is. Lord, we pray that we will continue to open the doors of opportunities for trade, investment, and strategic partnerships. As we make these connections, Lord, may our efforts bring economic growth and development to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Bless everyone here in a special way, those who are here presently and those who are viewing us via social media. Lord, we thank you for your journey in mercies and bringing us here safely. Take full control of this session and let your will be done. Together we build, together we restore, and together we prosper. May Almighty God bless and keep us through. Amen. Amen.
Thank you. Have a seat. Get comfortable. I'd like to acknowledge the Honorable Minister Israel Bruce, Minister of Agriculture, Forestry and Rural Transformation, His Excellency Mr. Kevin Hope, Ambassador of Finance and Investment and Chairman of the Board of Invest SVG, Mrs. Ketlin Bowman Penn, representing the Honorable Marlon Penn, Area Representative for District 8, Permanent Secretary Ms. Sandy Peters Phillips, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, Foreign Investment and Diaspora Affairs, Executive Director of Invest SVG, Ms. Anna Young, Ms. Jacqueline Archibald, Overseas Representative here for the BVI, His Excellency Mr. Alan Alexander, Director of Diaspora Affairs in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, Foreign Investment and Diaspora Affairs, Ms. Okolo John Patrick, Director of Trade in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, Foreign Investment and Diaspora Affairs, Mr. Christo Primus, Head of Private Sector Development Department, Ms. Patricia John, Marketing and Communications Manager, Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, representatives of the National Properties, NIS, other members of the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Building and Loan Association, and other members of Invest SVG team, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen here, both listening and online, a pleasant good evening to you all. Good evening. Now, I'm feeling a lot more comfortable, a lot more relaxed after that prayer over our proceedings. I think we're on a very good road for a very good evening. And before we start, I wanted to set the tone of what's going to be happening for this evening. So I wanted to sit back, relax. I know it's a bit of a cliche. Everybody says sit back, relax. But we are going to take you on a journey of what's been happening back home, what we've been building, what's been growing, and what is waiting for you. So welcome to the Islands of Opportunity.
Imagine yourself in an unspoiled paradise, a slice of heaven that was bestowed upon the earth, where infinite blue meets sparkling black, where culture connects with soul, and where creativity merges with innovation. 32 islands and keys, bustling with infinite potential across the pillars of our economy and defined by our people, places, and spaces. An ever-blooming tourism sector ripe for the picking, the region's most pristine marine environments carrying our blue economy, and lush volcanic soil serving as the foundation of our abundant agricultural engine. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is untapped potential in its purest form. We are a country that you experience and not just study, with policies and governance that are intentional with their approach to development and investment landscapes that truly define us as the Islands of Opportunity.
Now, that was not just a video. If that wasn't an invitation to come home, I don't know what else that was, right? I know some persons in the crowd say, oh my gosh, I left all of that. But that is why we're here, to remind you that home is definitely where the heart is. And we have not forgotten you. And from the teary eyes that may have started, home has not forgotten you either. Now, this evening would not be possible and would not exist without the work, the dedication, and the love of this particular woman that I'm about to call. She's a Vincentian who chose the BVI as her home, and then she turned around and made sure that home never forgot about us. She was instrumental in bringing this outreach to the British Virgin Islands, and for that we owe her a tremendous debt of gratitude. Please welcome a daughter of the soil, here living in the BVI, Miss Jacqueline Archibald.
In preparing for my welcome, I wanted to I wanted to start with a local plant, and I'm going to do it. Hi, good evening. And I look good down there. Welcome to the BVI. So now I go into the official part. I wish to adopt the protocol that has been established, and mine is the distinct pleasure to welcome Honorable Israel Bruce, Minister of Agriculture, Rural Transformation, and the Invest SVG team to the British Virgin Islands. We thank you for giving Vincentians residing here in the territory an opportunity to be part of your investment conference as you continue your tour to the various countries to sell St. Vincent to the diaspora. We welcome the opportunity to meet with the representatives from the various sectors to discuss how we can invest in our country. Many of us are looking forward to returning home someday, and hence the importance of this event to us. Most of you might be visiting the BVI for the first time, and I'd like to tell you that the country is made up of more than 60 islands, islets, and keys, of which 16 are inhabited. The largest of the islands is Tortola. The territory's population, according to the last completed census, showed that we are among the majority of expatriates residing in the BVI, along with Guyana and Jamaica. Hence, your decision to include us in your tour is timely and was a strategic move. Once again, welcome to the visiting delegation, our Vincentian brothers and sisters who answered the call and are here this afternoon, and also BVI Islanders who are also present to celebrate with us. We look forward to future discussions in the next few hours, where we'll all work to build St. Vincent and the Grenadines for future generations. Welcome again, and thank you for including us.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Archibald. She's definitely a testament to what one person can do who's driven by love for country, what can happen from that. And we are definitely thankful for you, sincerely. Now, we were very much looking forward to welcoming the Honorable Marlon Penn, Area Representative for District 8, which is where we are this evening, to the podium. Not District 8, District 5. Just making sure you all were paying attention. Thank you. Good to know. But while we unfortunately weren't able to join us this evening, he ensured that District 8 is very much represented. Delivering remarks on his behalf is someone who knows the heartbeat. I'm going to welcome Ms. Kathleen Bowman-Penn to the podium.
Good evening, everyone. Minister Israel Bruce, the Minister of Agriculture, Forestry, and Rural Transformation, distinguished guests, and my fellow Caribbean brothers and sisters. Honorable Bruce, while you are here today representing the new government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we remember you very well as a seasoned legal practitioner right here in the BVI. So on behalf of the community, welcome back to the territory. I stand before you this evening not only as Honorable Penn's Secretary for District 8, but also a proud Vincentian in the territory. It is my distinct pleasure to represent Honorable Marlon Penn this evening by sharing this message regarding the home is where the heart is. As urgent matters overseas prevent him from joining us in person, however, he wants everyone to know his heart is very much in this room. I wish to begin by formally commending the new government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the New Democratic Party, for this investment outreach program. In an era of economic shifts, this engagement is a masterclass in regional self-reliance. You are tapping into a demographic that possesses the capital, professional expertise, and cultural intelligence to drive sustainable growth. In my constituency of District 8, the home of our largest Vincentian settlement, we see the value of this partnership in every facet of our economy. My district serves as the gateway for the Vincentian legacy in the Virgin Islands. But this evening, my appeal goes beyond our Vincentian brothers and sisters. I address every Virgin Islander and all nationalities gather and those listening online to be part of this great initiative. We live in an interconnected Caribbean where our borders may separate us, but our economies bind us. There is beauty in our integration that transcends simple trade. It is a power of collective identity. There is a myth that investing back home, wherever that home may be, takes away from the BVI. The truth is, a prosperous Caribbean makes for a secure BVI. When any resident of Tortola invests in our sister islands, they are building a regional economic buffer. Integration is the engine of our shared growth. When we move as one, we create a more solid market, a stronger trading network, and a resilient safety net for all our families. By building assets across our region, we ensure that when the next storm comes, be it climate or economic, our entire Caribbean foundation is reinforced, not just restored. The BVI stands proudly on the twin pillars of financial services and tourism. But we know these pillars are held aloft by the collective strength of many hands. In every corner of our territory, we see the beauty of shared labor. In construction, it is the combined sweat of all our people that has built the skyline we see today. In tourism, our world-class hospitality is a tapestry woven from the smiles and services of many cultures working side by side. In private service, our schools and hospitals flourish because of a diverse family of professionals dedicated to a common goal. In agriculture and fisheries, the skill brought from across our region ensure that we are all fed from the same soil and sea. Whether you are born on these shores or have chosen to call them home, your tangible contribution are the mortar between the bricks of our development here in the BVI. It is this partnership, this quiet daily cooperation between all nationalities that makes the BVI not just a destination, but a true home. When we acknowledge the work of our neighbors, we don't take away from our own. Instead, we honor the bridge that has helped us cross all into prosperity together. I appeal to every Vincentian, every nationality, every local partner. Let us move beyond mere spectators of our development. This project is your chance to become the primary shareholders of our collective future. In closing, let us remember that our strength lies not in our isolation, but in our integration. I remain deeply committed to my district, a community that has always served as the gateway for regional partnership. Together, we are more than neighbors. We are architects of a new Caribbean legacy. On behalf of the Office of the Leader of the Opposition and the people of the 8th District, we thank you for your enduring partnership and your commitment to our shared future. God bless you, and may He continue to prosper the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the British Virgin Islands. Honorable Marlon A. Penn, Leader of His Majesty's Loyal Opposition, Representative for the 8th District, thank you.
Thank you so very much, Ms. Bowman Penn, for stepping up so graciously and delivering. Please do convey our warm regards to the Honorable Penn for his words. Before I move on to the next person, I had to stop because I usually try to take a little nugget from every speaker that comes, but there were so many gems in his speech right there that I just wanted to pick out one that rang through to me. You know, as a Caribbean people, a lot of times, you know, we travel far and so forth like that, but whenever there is a disaster that happens, this is when we show up for each other, not just in terms of, you know, the diaspora, but other persons within the region. That's when we show up. We shouldn't wait for disaster to happen to show up for each other. This is one opportunity to show up for St. Vincent and the Grenadines that definitely carries all of our navel strings, and see how we can continually build on that. Now, when we speak about diaspora, that is us. Everyone here, everyone in this room, and we are not just a footnote in the story of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We are the whole chapter by ourselves, and a very significant one at that. Our next speaker leads the very department that exists to strengthen the relationship between the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and its people across the world. He is our bridge between the homeland and the heartland. Please welcome His Excellency, Mr. Alan Alexander, Director of Diaspora Affairs in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, Foreign Investment, and Diaspora Affairs.
Thank you very much, Shanna. The Honorable Israel Bruce, Minister of Agriculture, Forestry, Rural Transformation. His Excellency, Mr. Kevin Hope, Ambassador of Finance and Investment. Mrs. Kathleen Bowman Penn, representing the Honorable Marlon Penn, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, Investments, and the Diaspora Affairs, and Mrs. Okolo Patrick John, Director of that same office. Executive Director of Invest SVG, Ms. Anna Young. Mr. Christopher Primus, Head of the Private Sector Development Department. Representatives from the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, representatives from the National Insurance Services, the Building and Loan Services, and National Properties. You, my Vincentians diaspora, here, pleasant good evening. It is always a pleasure to be surrounded by our Vincentian brothers and sisters outside of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and this is indeed a great representation of all of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the BVI. And it gives me a great sense of pride to stand here before you here in the British Virgin Islands, your home away from home. Vincentians, no matter where they are and how far they go, carry with them the spirit, resilience, and the identity of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As part of the Vincentian diaspora, you continue to play a very important part of our nation's strength. You are ambassadors of our culture, contributors to our economy, and keepers of our heritage. And tonight, I want to speak to you not only about your importance to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but about the power that you hold in shaping the future of our great country. For generations, the Vincentian diaspora has played a very vital role in national development. Through monies that you send home on a regular basis, you have supported your families, your communities, and you have helped to strengthen St. Vincent and Grenadines in times of instability and uncertainty. Though financial contributions have been invaluable, and we continue to deeply appreciate the sacrifice that you make in supporting our communities in St. Vincent and Grenadines. But today, we are inviting you to see your role through wider lens. The future of St. Vincent and the Grenadines will not be built on remittances alone. It will be built on investment, strategic, sustained, and impactful investment. Investment in businesses, investment in innovation, investment in our communities, investment in the people of our blessed Hairuna. The big question you may ask, why should I invest in St. Vincent and the Grenadines? I'm here in the BVI, I'm comfortable, I'm doing well. Why? I am not sure how many of you have been home lately or how much attention many have been paying attention to St. Vincent and Grenadines. But our country is evolving. It is not the same country some of you may have left years ago. We are at the state of takeoff. We are seeing strong growth in some of the active sectors of tourism, agriculture, renewable energy, the creative sector, and the list goes on. This means there is immense opportunity emerging for partnerships, entrepreneurship, wealth creation, immense opportunity for you. And who better to seize these opportunities than you yourself, our Vincentian brothers and sisters who understand the culture, the people, and the potential of our great country. I know for a fact that there are potential investors all over the Caribbean who have been looking at St. Vincent with a very intentional eye. They are seeing the possibilities and the future that our country holds. But you have the opportunity and the edge that the foreign investors lack. You have the Vinci roots and the Vinci connections. Use them. Now, when we speak of investment, we're not only speaking of large-scale ventures, though we continue to promote and welcome those type of ventures because these help to sustain our economy. But it can be small. A joint venture with family, a small business idea. It can be supporting and partnering with a local entrepreneur, investing in agro-processing business, sharing expertise and skills, mentorship, knowledge transfer. Every contribution counts, and every effort builds momentum. It is about creating assets, generating returns, and building a legacy. Beyond financial investment, your influence matters. Your network matters. Your ideas matter. Being here, you bring with you different perspectives, experiences, and innovation that can transform our local landscape. Whether it's through technology, education, business, or culture, you have the capacity to help us leap forward. As a government, we recognize this. There is a renewed commitment to strengthen and engage with our diaspora. We are creating clearer pathways for investment. We are improving the ease of doing business, and we are ensuring that whenever you do decide to invest back home, you are supported, valued, and protected. And today we have a very diverse team here with us who would be available to listen to your curiosity about making that investment back home. As Vincentians living in the BVI, ask yourselves, what role do you want to play in the future of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have seen the many successes of Vincentians living here with thriving businesses, a testament of the Vinci determination and entrepreneurial brilliance. You have the opportunity to also do this back home in St. Vincent and Grenadines. And this does not require you to move back home entirely, because based on technology and our closeness, you can own businesses even while residing here, still in the BVI. Ask yourselves, what can I invest? Not just financially, but intellectually. What networks can I open for my country? What legacy do I want to leave behind? Because ultimately, this is about your legacy. Let us work together to ensure that the next generation of Vincentians does not have to leave sweet St. Vincent and Grenadines to find success, but instead they can invest home and have it multiplied. My friends, St. Vincent and the Grenadines is on a journey of transformation, a journey that requires all of us at home and abroad. And as we stand on the brink of this renewed push towards diaspora engagement, I say to you, the time is now. Now is the time to invest. Now is the time to reconnect. Now is the time to build our country. Let us move together from remittances to investments, from support to ownership. St. Vincent and the Grenadines needs you, not just for what you send, but for what you can build. So together, let us continue as one people, one nation, to move the future of our blessed land, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, forward. I thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Your Excellency. I think the diaspora, we were listening, and we are definitely ready to engage. His Excellency spoke about you. You matter. We heard a lot of that, and that is so true. Now is the time, because if it's not now, we are leaving the door wide open, because we are ready for investments. We're leaving the door wide open for other persons to come in and build St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Why not you? Be a part of the discussion if you don't want to be left behind. This is about our future generations to come, and I would love to see that we are all part of that development. Now, you know what they say, that it takes money to what? Make money. So you have all heard that. And the next speaker who is here is going to talk exactly about that. And to let you know how the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is not just a bank, but it is your partner on this investment journey. Whether you're thinking about a mortgage back home, a business plan, or simply understanding your financial options as a diaspora investor, this is the conversation that you need to take notes for. So please help me to welcome Ms. Patricia John, Marketing and Communications Manager of the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as well as the Platinum sponsor for this diaspora outreach. Thank you.
Oh boy, let's see if I can get set up here. Give me a minute. Okay, I'm good. Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, BVI. Please allow me to adopt the established protocols and to say what a pleasure it is for the team of Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to be here today among fellow Vincentians and friends of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I want to start this afternoon by thanking the team at Invest SVG for organizing this much needed initiative so that we can come out and get closer to our friends and families in the diaspora. So I want to offer a thanks to the Invest SVG team. I think they deserve a round of applause for the hard work that they've put in. As you may know, this initiative would have started last year, And on our journey, we went to the UK, Canada, Washington, and New York. And in each of these locations, it reinforced a simple truth, that although time and distance may separate us, the ties that bind us to home remain unbreakable. Here in the BVI, that connection is especially deep because of the relationship between the Virgin Islands and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It spans for decades, and we see the effect of that connection in the impact that you all are making across so many sectors in the BVI, like construction, law enforcement, healthcare, hospitality, and so many other areas. Last year's engagement was really meaningful, and we expect that this year is going to be just as impactful, maybe even more so, as we connect with you here in the region, where the ties to home are strong and the connection to St. Vincent and the Grenadines is very real. These conversations are powerful because they're grounded in shared experiences and shared understanding of what matters to our people. So the feedback we receive will continue to help to shape the bank's strategy going forward and give us a clearer insight and understanding into your needs and your expectations. So we look forward to the interactions that we will have with you today. So for you who have been living in the BVI, whether you have been here for decades or you've recently come here, we know that one thing is true. No matter where life takes us, home is always where the heart is. And we are committed at Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to ensuring that no matter where you reside, that you are never outside of our reach. Now, before I go any further, I want to fulfill a very important duty that has been entrusted to me, and that is delivering greetings, love and greetings from the BOSVG family. So on behalf of the Board of Directors, our Managing Director, Mr. Derry Williams, the entire management and staff of BOSVG, I bring you heartfelt greetings with pride and gratitude. And these aren't just words. They are reminders that though you may be far from home, you are never far from our hearts. And because we wanted to go just one step further, we actually made a video greeting for you, crafted especially for you from the Office of the Deputy Managing Director, Mr. Benny Stapleton. I don't know if some of you may be familiar with him. He's a pretty popular guy. So let's see what that greeting looks like.
Good evening to all our friends and families in the diaspora. Greetings from beautiful St. Vincent and the Grenadines. On behalf of the Board of Directors, management, and staff of the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines Limited, we are pleased to have dispatched a dedicated team to meet you across these 4 locations. They are there not only to greet you, but more importantly, to listen, to engage, and to provide meaningful updates on the steps we are taking to better serve you, our valued customers in the diaspora. I regret not being there with you in person. However, I am confident that the team representing BOSVG will do an outstanding job in making you feel at home, delivering our services to you from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and most of all, showing that we truly care.
You all felt the warmth in that greeting, not just from the Deputy Managing Director, but from every member of staff who waved at you with those genuine smiles. So now that I've made good on my promise to deliver those greetings, as with last year, I've been tasked with delivering a few important messages and updates to you. And I'll start with the Diaspora unit. Last year, when we interacted with the various diasporas, we informed them that we had a vision to establish a diaspora unit that would be dedicated to servicing your needs. This was born out of feedback that we would have gotten from the general public on, frustrating interactions when you try to contact the bank from overseas or when you visit in your vacation trying to get services from the bank. And so we are here today, and we are proud to report that that vision has become a reality. And when I say the work has been done, we've put in real work. We went back to the drawing board with the organization chart. We included the Diaspora unit. And following that, we went back for board approval. And then we embarked on a recruitment exercise to make sure that it was staffed with the correct personnel. And this was not a small undertaking for us, but it was a priority because serving our diaspora is of utmost importance to the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we're really proud to have accomplished this just as we are approaching our 50th anniversary, having been established on June 1st, 1977, because it really reflects our recognition of the international diversity of our Vincentian people. So the unit has been established, and here with us today we have Mr. Kadeem Moffat, who would be your chief point of contact. We normally travel with Ms. Shelley-Ann Samuel, who is the manager of that department, but she was unavoidably detained, so she wasn't able to make it here today. And there's also other member, Ashana Macmillan, who is back home right now holding down the unit while we travel and connect with you in the diaspora. And today that department has already started to make a difference. As a matter of fact, we brought along another very short video to show you how customers are already being positively impacted by this very bold initiative. So let's look at the screens one more time, please.
Hi, I'm here from Toronto, Ontario, where I live, and my roots are in the beautiful St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And today I'm going to tell you about my own experience with opening a bank account with the Bank of St. Vincent. It was surprisingly straightforward. I was a little bit hesitant, but folks at the bank were so helpful. One of the big things I think to help me prepare was to view the website, read all the FAQs, and look to see what I needed to come. So I came armed with the information that I thought the bank needed. Booked an appointment, came in. It was wonderful. So as I said earlier, I live in Toronto, so relatively new to trying to settle in a new country or whether it be part-time or full-time. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about the actual process that we went through. We initially, as I said earlier, we initially did a research online on the bank's website. I reached out as an inquiry, like, how do I do this? How do I start? I got a response by email, which was, encouraging, and I was happy for that. I received a feedback and requested an appointment to see someone. I was able to connect with Ms. Shelley-Ann Samuel. I booked an appointment before I got to St. Vincent, met with Shelley-Ann and her colleague Craig Morris, and together it was like they knew everything that I was thinking about. And I came armed with trying to ask lots of questions and thinking that I would need 2 or 3 trips into the bank, which I was warned about. You'll take a whole week just to get an answer, but I promptly got an email back. I was provided with instructions, the kind of documents that we needed to bring with us. Came into the bank, presented that information, and that helped immensely. And so that led to my, actually I shared with other people that I stay with here in St. Vincent, other people everywhere I went. I said, like, is it me or is it something is going on? I feel like there's a change because I actually many years ago, over 20 years ago, I did try this process. I gave up. I thought, I'm not doing this. So this was very encouraging and really and truly, if you're thinking about it, I think this is probably the place to do it.
OSBG, doing more together.
Nice. So there you have it. And I like the way she said that she visited the website and she made contact with the unit before she came, and that made for a seamless interaction. And that's exactly the kind of experience we want you to have. Now, let me be clear. When I say seamless, I don't mean that there's fewer requirements. We know that the paperwork could be a bit heavy, and yes, we've heard your concerns, but because you live and work abroad, it it means that we have to apply what is called enhanced due diligence, and that means you'll do and provide a little bit more paperwork than the Vincentian that is living at home. And these requirements are not meant to frustrate you. They are designed to satisfy our regulators, the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, as well as to protect our correspondent banking relationship. And I'm sure you would appreciate how vital these relationships are, because that is how we do business with you. But we also understand that serving you is not just about structure, it's about accessibility. You're being able to make contact with the bank when you need us. And that's why we've turned our attention to how we connect with you in real time. And that takes me to my second message, the Digital Engagement Center. Now, we know that as you interact with our platform, it gives rise to some questions and you may require troubleshooting. And so in 2021, we established the Digital Engagement Center, which is a dedicated call center designed to provide timely support to you while easing the burden on the departments that are processing critical work. And that initiative has already proven to be a tremendous asset to our operations. But yet with every project, we tend to ask ourselves, how do we reevaluate and refine? And now that we've seen how effective the department is, we're asking, how could we better serve the many individuals who may be working hard every day and may only have moments maybe on a break or after hours or between responsibilities to get the support that they need? And obviously that will not always happen within banking hours. So the answer, of course, lies in expansion. So we're happy to inform you that we are already on the way to extending the operating hours of the Digital Engagement Center to support. And we're going to pair that with advanced technology to ensure that every customer, whether they're living at home or abroad, that they will be able to access seamless support in real time when you need it. And that is more than just customer service. That's BOSVG's commitment to connection. But service is only part of our mission. At BOSVG, we believe that true empowerment comes when you pair good customer service with knowledge. And that is why we've also chosen to invest very, very heavily in financial education. And I'll tell you why. Through a survey that was conducted in 2022-2023 by our central bank, it identified some real gaps in the financial knowledge, behaviors, and attitudes in our population. And so BOSVG took immediate action, dedicating time and resources to equipping students, teachers, and business houses across St. Vincent and the Grenadines with practical skills in budgeting, money management, investing, and retirement planning. And these investments in our people have been recognized by our central bank, with the bank being named the 2025 Bank of the Year for Financial Education and Empowerment. And that is the first time this award has been received in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Yes, it was indeed a proud moment for Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but more importantly, it reflects our steady progress in building confidence and capability across our nation, and the continued commitment by BOSVG to keep investing in our people and the future that we are building together. But beyond that, the real story is seeing what is happening on the ground. Because across St. Vincent and the Grenadines, progress is no longer something that we just talk about. It's something that we are living every single day. And you don't have to look far to see it, which takes me to my final message, which is our focus on investment. Now, for myself as a resident of St. Vincent, moving around and conducting my regular business, I can't help but see how St. Vincent has been developing and continues developing by all the projects that are being undertaken. So what I want to do for the few remaining moments is just to take you on a typical drive from home to work. Let's say, for argument's sake, I live in Peruvianville. I know I introduce myself to many persons. You all know I live in Glen, right? But the drive is going to be more interesting if we take it from Peruvianville. So we're going to start out on that side, and we're going to make it a Wednesday. So we're going to pull out onto the Windward Highway, and then we're going to indicate and turn down into the AIA Airport. That is where Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has our exchange bureau and an ATM. And I tell you, as we get down there, we're going to struggle to find a park because it's Wednesday, and all the international flights are coming in. But I have a BOSVG park, so we're going to park. We are okay. Now, in addition to seeing the Virgin Atlantic flights that are going to take persons straight to the UK, we'll also see JetBlue, which brings persons from New York, Air Canada, which takes you to Toronto, American airline flights to Miami. And recently, AA would have increased the amount of flights that's coming into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we also added Delta Airlines, which is coming in from Atlanta weekly. Interestingly, I was listening to an announcement recently, and they were indicating that in 2025, we hit a historic milestone with the number of stayover visitors. We actually hit over 120,000 stayover visitors, which is a 17.4 increase over the 2024 figure, and that's continuing to rise. So you could imagine how busy our airport is. But we're not staying long. I'm just going to say hello to my co-worker who is at the bureau, and then I'm going to take out some cash from the machine, and then we're off. From there, the drive is a showcase of progress. As we drive, we're going to come across the Diamond Stadium sports facility. And that is set, well, it was set to be open last month, but I believe it should be completed this month. It houses a gym, massage rooms, testing rooms, administrative offices, and a balcony overlooking the track, the full works. Then when we move along from there, we're going to come to the Holiday Inn, newly completed Holiday Inn, followed by the Diamond Supermarket. Near there is Carrer's expansive compound. It houses a pharmacy, building supplies, and a wholesale division that they call Ocado, and of course, a brand new BOSVG ATM machine. Then as we push off from there and we go around the corner, we're going to pass another supermarket, Randy's Supermarket, immediately followed by the new hotel, Maya Suites. It has a pool up on the top and it has a pool at the bottom, right? So I'm sure you can see where we're headed with this store. As we weave around the other couple of corners, we pass the marina in Rattamill, and then we come into Calico, where the first thing we may see is the police station, because that's a landmark. But of course, yes, recently it was gutted by fire, but we know what that means. A new one will soon come, right? Just opposite that station is the Rainforest Seafoods. That's a top-class facility where you can get your fresh vegetables, meats, seafood, all within one compound. And just walking in there makes you feel like you've stepped out of the Caribbean and stepped into international territory. So we're going to have to pull ourselves away from there and come out. When we come out, we're going to meet two more BOSVG ATMs in Calico, and then we turn the corner and come upon that stretch of restaurants and hotels across from Young Island in Villa. As we round the corner from there, we're going to come across the luxurious La View Boutique Hotel and Beach Club, and that poses the largest pool deck, not in St. Vincent, but in the Caribbean, and where there they host destination weddings and parties. Not too far from there, we come upon a newly refurbished Annisvale playing field. It's equipped now with massive stadium floodlights, so we're having activities there day and night. On the adjacent compound, we're going to come upon Joshua Shopping Center, which I hope soon will become a mall, because I want to have a mall in St. Vincent. Right on that same compound, we're going to find, which used to house the old airport, houses a huge building project which is on the way that is eventually going to be a brand new full-service hospital. I hasten to add that BOSVG also has an ATM there and across the road at Grave Supermarkets. But just outside of that facility, we have two large vehicle rental services with substantial fleets of vehicles, underscoring the growth not just in tourism but in mobility in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now we're heading up to Sion Hill, and I'm almost at work because I work in the building right next door to the post office that we took over from FCIB when they left the shores of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But as you get to the top of Sion Hill, you have a beautiful view of the whole of Kingston, and it would be difficult to miss that impressive new Kingston port. And of course, that promises to be the gateway of increased transatlantic activity, both commercially and for tourists. So now we are in Kingston, where BOSVG has 2 branches and 8 ATMs. And while I would have loved to take you across to the leeward side of the island to be able to see all that's taking place there with sandals and everything that's going on, duty calls, so the tour has to end here. But I'm sure you can see where we are headed with this verbal tour. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is open for business with much room for expansion. For example, while we celebrate the franchises we have like KFC and Subway, there's room for much, much more. We need businesses that are going to support the tourism infrastructure and that would round out the tourist experience when they come to our islands. So perhaps more adventure type businesses. I know I was reading about sea bobbing in Curacao. I think it's some machinery where you go down underwater and you look at the coral reefs. And I'm thinking, St. Vincent has a lot of coral reefs and clear seas, so why are we not sea bobbing, right? Even something as simple as increased parking in and around Kingstown, maybe a high-rise parking facility. And I'm just touching the tip of the iceberg when it comes to potential business ventures in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So really, all it takes is some creativity on your part and the use of the very skilled and knowledgeable team at Invest SVG. And I'm confident with their extensive network that you can transform any business model, any business idea you have into a reality. And BOSVG stands beside them, offering a full suite of banking products to give you ready access to capital, seamless payment options, liquidity support, investment solutions, cross-border transfers, and e-commerce facilities, just to name a few. Later in the investment forum, my colleague Kadeem Mofford will expand on these products that are designed to make your investment journey into St. Vincent and the Grenadines seamless, secure, and successful. So, as you look across our islands, don't just see buildings rising, see our future unfolding. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is not waiting for the future, we are building it. And we are inviting you, our diaspora, to be a part of this story of resilience, progress, and opportunity. Together, we sincerely believe that with the creativity of our people and the support of key partners and financial institutions like Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, that we are shaping a sustainable and prosperous future for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So as I asked in the UK, my question to you, BVI, will you be satisfied with just being a spectator? I hope not. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Oh, I have to make a small adjustment there. Okay, thank you very much, Ms. John from the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Proof that financing your dreams and investing back home is definitely closer than you think. If you missed it, they actually brought together a dedicated diaspora unit just for you. Don't waste that opportunity. See how you can be part of the conversation. Now, when we talk about policy, it is in an invisible architecture that is behind everything that we have been discussing this evening. And this evening, the architect in the building is Ms. P.S., Permanent Secretary of the Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, Foreign Investment, and Diaspora Affairs, a woman whose work touches everything from trade agreements to diaspora engagement frameworks. Please welcome P.S. Sandy Peters Phillips.
Thank you very much, Shanna. Okay. The Honorable Israel Bruce, Minister of Agriculture, Forestry, and Rural Transformation. His Excellency Kevin Hope, Ambassador of Finance and Investment, and also the Chairman of the Board of Invest SVG. Mrs. Kathleen Brown Penn, representing the Honorable Marlon Penn, Area Representative for District 8. Executive Director of Invest SVG, Ms. Anna Young. Ms. Jacqueline Archibald, Overseas Representative for the BVI. His Excellency Alan Alexander, Director of Diaspora Affairs in the Ministry. Mrs. Okolo John Patrick, the Director of Foreign Trade. Mr. Christo Primus, Head of Private Sector Development Department. Mrs. Patricia John, Marketing and Communication Manager of BOSVG. representatives of National Properties and NIS, other members of the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Building and Loan, and Invest SPG, our dear diaspora, brothers and sisters, members of the media, good evening. It is a privilege for me to join you and bring warm greetings on behalf of the government and the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I extend sincere appreciation for your continued commitment to your homeland, even as you contribute meaningfully to life and the development here in the British Virgin Islands. We also wish to acknowledge and appreciate the government and people of the British Virgin Islands for providing opportunities for our nationals to live, work, and contribute meaningfully to its development. The relationship between our peoples continue to be built on mutual respect and shared benefits. The Vincentian community in the BVI holds a special place in our national story. Many of you have distinguished yourselves in construction, hospitality, financial services, healthcare, among others. You have not only built livelihoods, but you have consistently supported families and communities back home. We have seen this commitment in every tangible way. For example, during our crisis, including the impacts of hurricanes, the eruption of the La Soufrière volcano, Vincentians here in the BVI mobilized quickly, organizing relief efforts drive, sending barrels with food and supplies, and contributing financially to national recovery. So let's give a round of applause for that. So, now these actions made a real difference on the ground. We also see your impacts through remittances, which continue to support education, housing, and small businesses in our communities. Many families have been able to send their children to school, complete home construction, or start small enterprises because of the steady support from relatives in the BVI. In addition, there are Vincentians in the BVI who have invested directly back home, whether building guest houses, supporting agricultural ventures, or partnering with small tourism-related businesses. These are just practical examples of how the diaspora engagement translates into economic activity and, importantly, job creation. This evening's engagement is about strengthening that connection even further. It is about ensuring that you remain informed, involved, and empowered to contribute at even a higher level. We are here not only to share, but to listen, because your perspectives, shaped by your experience here in the BVI, are invaluable. Furthermore, this outreach forms a part of a deliberate national effort to strengthen the links between our diaspora and investment opportunities at home. So, through initiatives such as Home is Where the Heart Is, we are positioning our diaspora not simply as supporters, but as key partners in national development and investment. As we look at the broader global context, we recognize that small island states like ours continue to face shared vulnerabilities, from climate change to global economic shifts and external shocks. In this regard, our diaspora remains a critical pillar of resilience, innovation, and recovery for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As a government, we are focused on creating an enabling environment for growth and opportunities. We are improving the ease of doing business, advancing digital transformation, and strengthening public service delivery. A key pillar of this transformation is our digital transformation agenda, under which we have introduced a Vinci single window for trade facilitation, and we call it the vSwift. Now, the vSwift is a one-stop electronic platform that allows investors, importers, and exporters to conduct business online, submitting all trade-related documents in one place. This results in faster processing and clearance of goods, reduced bureaucracy and transaction costs, greater transparency and efficiency, easier remote access for diaspora investment, including those based right here in the BVI, and a more competitive and business-friendly environment. Another important pillar of development is the construction of the new modern port facility in Kingston. Now, this transformative project enhances cargo handling capacity, strengthening efficiency in trade and logistics, reduce turnaround times, and strengthen our position as a regional maritime hub. It will also stimulate job creation, support private sector growth, and improve resilience in our supply chains. Importantly, I wish to highlight key institutional and steps we have taken. The ministry has restructured to include a dedicated Department of Diaspora Affairs to ensure a structured and continuous and responsive engagement with our national abroad. In addition, Invest SVG has now been aligned under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and this alignment strengthens integration of diplomacy and economic development, enabling us to better leverage our overseas missions and diaspora networks, including here in the BVI, to advance trade and investments. We also continue to benefit from promote regional international frameworks and expand opportunities for our people. Now, under the Caribbean Single Market Economy, and perhaps you have heard about this, the CSME, Vincentians have accessed free movements of skilled labor, rights of establishment, expanded regional markets, and movements of capital, creating real opportunities for entrepreneurship, mobility, and regional expansion. In addition, we are actively leveraging the CARIFORUM EU Economic Partnership, the EPA, it's known as that, which provides preferential access to our goods and services into the European markets. And you're not left out of all of these agreements and opportunities, okay? This opens significant opportunities for exporters, agro-processors, creatives, and service providers, while also creating space for diaspora-led businesses and partnerships and investment linkages. Through these combined framework, we are promoting opportunities in tourism, agriculture, agro-processing, the blue economy, among others, and we are especially encouraging participation given your exposure, expertise, and entrepreneurial experience here in the BVI. Work is in progress to improve how we serve you broadly, and this includes streamlining consular services, improving communication, and facilitating document processing. Our goal is to make engagement with government more efficient, accessible, and responsive. Importantly, your contribution goes beyond financial support. We encourage greater involvement in knowledge sharing and mentorship. Professional and construction can support skills development and standards. Those in finance can assist with investment readiness. And those in healthcare and hospitality can contribute to training in capacity building at home. So to strengthen this engagement further, we are advancing structured diaspora registration system to better connect with our nationals abroad, improve communication, and ensure diaspora contributions are fully integrated into national planning and development. We are also placing strong emphasis on engaging our second, our third, even our fourth generation Vincentians in the BVI. ensuring that our youth remains connected to their heritage through education, cultural exchange, entrepreneurship pathways, and youth-focused initiatives. In addition, we recognize the importance of skills return and circular migration, creating structured opportunities for professionals in the diaspora to contribute through short-term assignments, consultancy, mentorships, and knowledge transfer. In this way, experience gained abroad becomes a continuous national asset. We are encouraging you to take practical action. Stay formally connected through diaspora platforms. Explore at least one investment or partnership opportunity at home, and actively share your skills or mentorship with those back home. As we move forward, I encourage you to remain connected, to engage with our national initiatives, and to explore the expanding opportunities available to you as partners in development. In closing, let me reaffirm that distance does not diminish commitment. No matter where we reside, we remain one people with one identity and one shared responsibility for the future of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The Vincentian diaspora in the British Virgin Islands remains a pillar of our national progress. Together, let us continue to build a stronger, a more resilient, and a more prosperous St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Thank you very much.
I see these ladies out here towering over me. I have to make some adjustments again. Thank you so very much, PS. It is definitely clear that the framework is strong, and tonight we are definitely building on that. PS spoke about the registration system. You know, we're on the way of getting a new hospital very soon, and this is one of the areas that we can definitely use your skills and the talents of persons within the diaspora to come back to help fill those positions, or even in terms of training and knowledge transfer. So definitely stay connected and be part of the conversation and counted, so we know how it is that we can definitely lean on you and lean on each other. Now, the private sector is where ideas become enterprise, where vision becomes value, and where diaspora energy, your energy, can have the most direct and lasting impact on the economy back home in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Our next speaker leads the department that exists to support exactly this transformation. Please welcome Mr. Christo Primus, Head of the Private Sector Development Unit.
Permit me to move ahead, protocol being already established. Good evening to you, our Vincentian diaspora, and those who are specially invited. I must say that this is my 4th day, I think, here in the BVI, and I really felt at home. I went in the supermarket a couple nights ago, and I saw someone, and the person looked really familiar. I observed, I moved away, I circled back. Then I realized the person came and hugged me. Then I noticed it was someone who went to school with me. I think it was yesterday, I went into the next to the supermarket up the road. Then I saw someone again who looked similar and quite familiar. Then I realized it was someone who I knew again. I looked around tonight, and I'm seeing a number of faces that I missed, and I realized that they slipped away up here into Tortola. Creating the enabling environment for businesses to grow. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, upon taking office, signaled its intention to seed economic space that is required for economic transformation through private sector-led growth to the private sector. This was demonstrated, this was demonstrated in the establishment of a Department of Private Sector Development whose main objective is to create the enabling environment for private businesses to grow and become profitable. The vision of this department is a competitive, innovative, and inclusive private sector that fosters economic development and advanced living standards for all Vincentians. The mission to create the enabling environment for promoting and facilitating business and industrial development, local and foreign investment and commerce. Now, I want to just speak to a few interventions by government in creating the enabling environment for businesses to grow in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The first intervention is the creation of a Private Sector Advisory Council. Now, the creation of this council, it is intended that private sector entities would have a seat at the table. The idea is for businesses, private businesses, and government practitioners can sit, discuss challenges and obstacles to doing business, and have these discussions inform government policy in shaping and creating that environment for businesses to grow. So we are giving you an opportunity to inform government policy. The second intervention is the amendment of the Fiscal Incentive Act. Now, the Fiscal Incentives Act is a piece of legislation which my former department and now the Department of Private Sector Development administers in allowing businesses to access concessions, tax-free holidays, and etc., so that the business can, in setting up, get a footing in the local industry without having to meet all those significant initial costs, which are normally significant challenges to businesses establishing and grow. The third intervention is the amendment of the Companies Act. Now, persons who have registered businesses before would know that they face significant delays in registering a company. And sometimes registration of companies has the challenges and the delay it takes for companies to be registered in St. Vincent and the Grenadines sometimes result in us losing significant investment opportunities. The government has taken the decision to look at this piece of legislation, which is quite a bit old, and make those amendments to ensure that the turnaround time for business registration, for registration of companies is shortened so that they can effectively move forward and in registering the company and moving forward with their investments. The fourth intervention is the amendment to the Small Business Act. Well, there wasn't really an act per se. It was in draft since 2007. There was a amendment to the draft which was never passed in Parliament. The government has decided to revisit this Small Business Act, which is critical to doing business in St. Vincent and the Grenadines in terms of defining businesses, in terms of determining what concessions and what support government can give to businesses, to have it legislated so that there is certainty for businesses when they seek to invest and expand. So these pieces of legislation are on the legislative agenda for the government for 2006, and these interventions, we hope, will go a long way in facilitating businesses and increase and reduce the time associated with doing business in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Now, there's one more intervention that I want to mention, and that is the establishment of a development bank. Now, there are various opinions on the establishment of a development bank, but again, the government has taken the decision to move ahead with the establishment of a development bank, not just to provide financing to small businesses who we may think appear to be risky, but there is a strategic imperative behind the establishment of a development bank. And I'll mention a few of them. The strategic thrust of the institution will be to provide three main functions of financier, advisor, and partner. These core functions will focus on the following actionable goals. So these are the goals that any development bank that is developmental, well, that should be developmental in its core, should focus on. One, to finance national development priorities with long-term counter-cyclical capital. To facilitate exports and trade through targeted export-import instruments, a vehicle for fostering enhanced regional and international cooperation. It will facilitate the crowding in of private capital through partnering with the private sector and other financial institutions, local, regional, and international. This is critical. Supports inclusive, climate resilient, and export-oriented growth, and provide investment banking services, that is wealth management. So the creation of a development bank remains a critical institution in moving the private sector forward and to facilitate private sector-led growth. The ecosystem of the private sector has more than enough space and appetite to facilitate participation from our diaspora. BVI or any other private sector investor who wishes to invest in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As was mentioned before, we are open for business. Bring your funds to St. Vincent and the Grenadines to invest or partner with one of our established businesses on the ground. Let me take that again. Bring your funds to invest or partner with one of our established businesses on the ground. Diaspora businesses are welcome. You are not seen as a competitor to our local businesses, but rather complementary to the success of all businesses. So come, let's build SVG together. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Primus. A definite testament to the fact that opportunity does not knock forever. But tonight, he definitely held the door open for us, and it is encouraged that you walk through that door. We've been talking a lot about investments about St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and I know we've given you a lot of information from us here, but I don't want you to just take our word for it. I want to turn your attention to our screens as we listen to a seasoned investor in St. Vincent and the Grenadines speak about their own experience about investing in our homeland.
Yeah, my name is Stephen Joachim. I am the Chief Financial Officer of Mustique Company. Mustique Company operates is a small island in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we develop that island. There's about 100 private homes on the island. The island is a resort island, if you like. However, it is largely a self-contained island, and we are responsible for developing the island in accordance with our agreement with the government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, all right, through a piece of legislation called the Mustique Company Act. The most important part of any foreign business is really your reputation, your agreements, your relationships between the local people and the government. Mustique Company has been remarkably successful over the years because we've had excellent relations with both the local population and the governments. And when I say the government, I don't mean a particular political party, but I mean the government in general. We've had different parties come into power, and we've always continued the same relationships with the people and the government. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in my view, is not a mass tourism destination, and I don't think it ever should be. Mustique is unique, it's small, it appeals to a certain type of clientele. Similarly, I would argue that St. Vincent and the Grenadines as a whole, we're very small islands. We can't have 5,000 room hotels. We would destroy the environment. What makes St. Vincent and the Grenadines a great place is the environment in which we live. And by and large, we have good people in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, by and large. We have people who are generally of a friendly disposition, and people who are relatively easy to do business with and who you can talk to and communicate with. So I think that's a big deal to us in particular, and that's why we've been successful. In the case of, sometimes you have to be very careful about focusing, and you can spread yourself too wide. Mustique has a huge range of owners. We are owned by 100 different shareholders with a wide variety of expertise in many, many areas. The question then is, we are often open to encouraging our homeowners to consider of additional avenues of not just investing, because that implies that you want just a return on your money, but also making a contribution back. The company and its homeowners and its shareholders recognize the benefits that we obtain from Made in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and we feel that we owe the country back something in return. It's not just about extraction, right? It's also about giving back also. It's a partnership, it's not just an investment. I would like to encourage them to look at St. Vincent and the Grenadines as a realistic opportunity where you can combine your investment and get something more out of it, not just a financial return on your investment, but you can feel like you are contributing to help develop a small island nation, and to make our island a little bit better by your investments and by your contributing back to the society also. I feel passionately that we can we have to attract the right kind of people. We don't want to attract people who are just coming here to exploit us to make a buck as quickly as possible. We want people who are going to be here and recognize it's a long-term commitment, it's a long-term contribution and what I would encourage them to do if people want to invest is go and speak to people who are already invested here. Come and speak to our homeowners, come and speak to Mustique Company and see what our experience has been, and let us tell you the pros and the cons. And I can tell you that in our case, in Mustique Company's case, and our shareholders, the pros significantly outweigh the cons, and that's why we have so much demand for Mustique and this opportunity. And you can feel better than it being just about finances. Fair enough?
100%.
All right.
Okay, good. I'm back. This was a definite look about real investments that are happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I know from your side, you might be thinking, well, that's Mustique Company. But this is the response from outside of St. Vincent, other investors, international investors, investing in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And this is yours. So this is a definite call not to miss out on the action. Now, for our next speaker, I would say that when the chairman of the board of Invest SVG and the ambassador of finance and investment walks the podium, one needs to sit up, take note, be attention, not because protocol demands it, but because what comes next definitely matters. His Excellency, Mr. Kevin Hope, he wears 2 titles, but 1 mission, to ensure that investments in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is not just possible, but is protected and supported. Please welcome His Excellency, Mr. Kevin Hope, Ambassador of Finance and Investment, Chairman of the Board of Invest SVG.
The Honorable Israel Bruce, Minister of Agriculture, Forestry and Rural Transformation, Ms. Kathleen Bowman Penn, representing the Honorable Marlon Penn, Permanent Secretary Ms. Sandy Peter Phillip in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, Foreign Investment and Diaspora Affairs, in addition to Ms. Okolo John Patrick, Director of Foreign Trade, Executive Director of Invest SVG, Ms. Anna Young, Ms. Jacqueline Archibald, Overseas Representative for the BVI, His Excellency Alan Alexander, Director of Diaspora Affairs, Mr. Christo Primus, Head of Private Sector Development, Ms. Patricia John, Marketing and Communications Manager, BOSVG, representatives of National Properties and NIS, other esteemed guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I was tasked to share with you the vision of an open door. For too long, the story of investing back home was defined by an image of closed doors and heavy red tape. You saw the potential in our soil, our seas, and our people, but you were deterred by the perceived complexity of bureaucracy. Today, as the chairman of Invest SVG, I'm here to tell you that that narrative has changed. We are transitioning from a singular focus on inward investment to a dual mandate that include the promotion of Vincentian products and services and mobilizing diaspora resources. And when we speak about diaspora resources, we're speaking clearly with respect to your knowledge, your skills, and equally your investment. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has made the ease of doing business a top strategic priority. I am here because the door is not just unlocked, it has been held wide open. And I'm equally testimony to the fact that I too have recently returned home after 25 years as a person within the diaspora to make my contribution to nation building. So how do we break down those barriers? We are preparing legislation, St. Vincent and the Grenadines Investment Act, that is intended to provide fundamental legal protection along with transparent, reliable, efficient and fair rules and procedures for investors. This is a binding guarantee of your rights. It enshrines fair and equitable treatment and non-discrimination, ensuring that all Vincentians in the diaspora and foreign investors alike are treated with the same high standards of protection. Furthermore, we are overhauling our incentives framework, moving towards performance-based benefits that reward you for creating value, especially in priority sectors such as agriculture, tourism, blue economy, and in the cultural and creative industries. But we aren't stopping with the laws. We are transforming our entire institutional framework towards digital transformation. And earlier you would have heard from P.S. Sandy with respect to work being led by the government. Of importance, last week, our Prime Minister, Dr. Godwin Friday, and Minister with responsibility for private sector development, spoke at a press conference. And he highlighted the government's commitment to move the time to set up a company in St. Vincent and the Grenadines from 2 months to 5 business days. So you could imagine the task that the Ministry of Finance, the team within the private sector development, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Invest SVG, and everyone within government are committed to cut that red tape and create opportunities for Vincentians at home and abroad to be able to unlock economic opportunities. Work is ongoing towards a business investment reform team with the private sector development, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Ministry of Finance to hunt down and eliminate red tape. Simultaneously, we're developing a business gateway, a portal where you could track permits and applications in real time. So these are some of the commitments with which our Vincentians at home and in the diaspora, as you are here tonight, would hold us accountable to. Through our partnership with the Center for Enterprise Development, we are strengthening the ecosystem for micro, small, and medium enterprises. We are building specialized capacity in research and market intelligence to provide you with the data you need to make informed decisions. So no more checking in through multiple agencies. You would have a single digital window into the Vincentian market. So our message to you is clear. You do not have to navigate this journey alone. Invest SVG is your partner and your advocate. We have specialized staff and management to ensure that once you land, you thrive. Your talent and your capital has a home in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The doors are open. The reforms are real. It's time to come build a resilient, competitive St. Vincent and the Grenadines together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much, Ambassador Hope. Investment definitely with confidence. That is the promise and the standard that we are going to be holding, creating a more enabling environment for you to do business. Now, on the heels of the ambassador there, he spoke about driving. As soon as you hit the ground running, Invest SVG, we're going to make you drive. I have to make sure my license is paid up. Now, Invest SVG is definitely the engine room for investment facilitation in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And leading that engine room, and is new to our family here and a definite great driver, if I must say so myself, is a woman who understands both vision and detail. Help me welcome the Executive Director of Invest SVG, Ms. Anna Young.
Allow me to adopt the protocol already established, but before I do that, I was Diaspora up until last week, Tuesday, when I packed my stuff after 36 years of living outside of the US and moved home. I landed in St. Vincent on Tuesday and I went to work on Wednesday. And it has not stopped. Here we are today. Like I said, allow me to adopt the protocol already established, and let's start. Good evening, everyone. My fellow Vincentians, welcome and thank you all for coming. It is an honor to address you here in the BVI as the new Executive Director of Invest SVG. We gather at a time when the global economy continues to adjust and redefine itself. Institutions such as the International Monetary Fund have highlighted both the vulnerabilities and the adjustment needs of small island developing states. We take these perspectives seriously, not as labels, but as inputs that help us sharpen our strategy and strengthen our resilience. What matters most, however, is how we respond. And our response is clear. We are opening wider, reaching further, and building stronger connections with our people wherever they are, you included. Let me begin with something fundamental, because I live it. There must no longer be a division between home-based Vincentians and the diaspora Vincentians, those living abroad. We all know that whether by need or not, we journeyed and left the place we loved, the place we called home, often to achieve a better life, but never forgetting where we're from. So we're the same. We're the same people, whether you live in St. Vincent, whether you live here. I'm 1 week in on the other side. So that language of separation that I hear echoing does not help any of us, whether at home or here. Because whether you are living in Layu, I am from Layu, or Layu was once home to your parents or your grandparents or your great-grandparents, you are Vincentian. Yes? Greg, my dear friend Jacqueline and I worked together for a very long time, way back, well, not so way back. So tonight we say it clearly. Vinci by birth, Vinci by descent, Vinci by identity, first generation, second generation, third generation, Vinci by choice. Home is where the heart is. Welcome home. And we are one people. And in that spirit, we are saying something even more important. We are not just welcoming you home, we are inviting you to build with us. It's your home. Whether you are a, dare I say it, a babysitter, a dog walker, a nurse, a teacher, a tradesperson, a business owner, a professional, a global professional, your skills, your experience, and your contribution matter. Investment is not only financial. You've heard that echoed here. And I endorse that. It is human, it is intellectual, it is relational, and we need all of it to build St. Vincent. Across the past few days here in the British Virgin Islands, we have had encouraging discussions with merchants and business leaders who are interested in placing Vincentian products on the shelves here. That is not just trade. It is visibility, confidence, and expansion for our producers and entrepreneurs back home. It shows what is possible when we connect our people across borders. Now let me turn to opportunity. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has identified 4 key pillars that will drive investment and national transformation. Those 4 key pillars are tourism, the green economy, the blue economy, and the creative industries. These are not abstract sectors. They are living, growing areas of opportunity that you can all take advantage of. Tourism remains A cornerstone expanding from traditional models into ecotourism, boutique experiences, heritage tourism, and high-value niche offerings. The green economy speaks to renewable energy, climate-smart agriculture, sustainable construction, and environmental innovation. The blue economy represents our oceans, fisheries, marine transport, coastal development, and emerging ocean-based initiatives. And the creative industries capture our music, film, digital content, fashion, arts, and cultural exports, our identity expressed globally. These 4 pillars define where opportunity lies for you, each of you, and they define where we want you involved. To support this, the government is repositioning Invest SVG to focus on export and trade development, foreign direct investment, financial services development, and diaspora investment mobilization. This repositioning is about ensuring that investment is not only encouraged, but actively facilitated. We are not asking you to navigate the system alone. We walk with you every step of the way. That is what Invest SVG will do for you and has repositioned itself to do. At Invest SVG, we walk with investors through every stage of their journey, and we will do that for you as well. We support with business registration and establishment, investment structuring and project development, accessing incentives and concessions, coordinating permits and approvals, engaging with ministries and agencies to help facilitate your initiatives, ongoing investor support and aftercare once you have launched. We are not a passive agency. Things are different now. We are actually an active facilitator. We recognize that the process has not always been seamless, so we are also strengthening, as my dear chairman, His Excellency, Mr. Hope, said a while ago, we are also strengthening the broader investment framework through ongoing legislative reform. The review of key legislation such as the Investment Act and the Tourism Aid Act, which is before our Attorney General now, but is not finalized as yet, will allow Invest SVG to operate as a true one-stop for investors. These reforms are designed to improve transparency and consistency, strengthen investor protection, align investment with national development priorities, enhance coordination across government, establish a more streamlined facilitation system. The objective, my dear fellow Vincentians, is simple: clarity, predictability, and confidence. In the meantime, investors already benefit from a range of incentives, including duty-free concessions on approved imports, corporate tax holidays, and sector-based tax reductions, withholding tax exemptions in qualifying cases, and work permit and entry facilitation for key personnel, among other concessions. Access to land for strategic projects, investor aftercare and support services. These incentives, my fellow Vincentians, are designed to make viable projects more competitive and sustainable. You can succeed in St. Vincent. To further support investors, we are building a vetted ecosystem, and I believe my dear permanent secretary sort of touched on this, but we are building a vetted ecosystem of service providers, including construction and project development professionals, architects and sustainable design experts, engineers, quantity surveyors and project managers, legal and investment advisory professionals, real estate and land acquisition specialists, and hospitality professionals, among others. What this means is you actually have, in most cases, the professionals, the experts, the services you need for your businesses when you come to St. Vincent. Because investment does not succeed in isolation, it succeeds in ecosystem. Now let me turn to the broader picture, if you allow me. The global economic environment is shifting. Capital is more selective. Competition for investment is stronger. And resilience has become the defining requirement for small economies. In this context, diaspora investment is not supplementary, it is strategic. Because you bring not only capital, you bring confidence, credibility, and connection. So tonight, I am not asking you to choose between here, the home you've adopted away from home, and there, the home where the heart is. I am inviting you to belong fully to both. To reconnect with your roots, to re-engage with your country. I'm doing it after 36 years. To reinvest in your future and in ours. It is yours. Because St. Vincent and the Grenadines is not divided between home and abroad. It is one nation, one people, one identity, working together. And together we will build. Home is where the heart is. And I add on a little thing, welcome home. Come home, invest, build, and let us rise together. Thank you.
I see that me and Miss Young, we see eye to eye. Didn't have to adjust this time. Blessings. Thank you so very much, Miss Young. I did promise you that she was a good driver, most definitely. And thank you for reminding us that there's no divide between us here or there. And this is why it is that we travel, to remind you that home is where the heart is. Now, I want to turn our focus to, I know I had to actually draw you guys over from some of our companies that we brought, Bank of St. Vincent, Building a Loan, and the NIS. And it is definitely important in terms of hearing from these organizations as to what they offer, what's possible, and what the next step for you would look like. So we're going to hear from the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Mr. Kadeem Mofford, just quickly to hear about some of the products that they have to offer in terms of what you have to benefit from.
Protocol already being established. Good evening, everyone. It is both a pleasure and a privilege for the team from BOSVG to be here today as part of this initiative, which has been so competently coordinated by the Invest SVG team. We are truly thankful for this opportunity to reconnect with our diaspora. Those of you who are already our trusted customers, along with potential clients and forward-thinking investors here in the BVI. During the preceding presentations, you would have gained a compelling overview of St. Vincent and the Grenadines' journey in recent years. They underscored how, even in the face of significant global and local challenges, our nation has continued to move forward guided by effective leadership, responsive governance, and the resilience, innovation, and determination of our people. Today, we stand firmly on a clear path toward recovery and sustainable growth, with multiple sectors poised for expansion. The opportunities for investment in our beautiful country are both abundant and timely, and the moment to act is now. It is within this context that I have the privilege of speaking with you today about the financing opportunities available to investors, particularly through the range of services offered by the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. To set the stage, though, allow me to begin with a brief overview of who we are and the integral role we play in supporting national development and private sector success. Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines Limited is a full-service commercial bank deeply integrated into the fabric of our nation. We serve approximately 70% of the bankable population, and much like our beloved nation, over the past 49 years, BOSVG has demonstrated remarkable resilience and growth. What began as a fully government-owned bank with a single branch has evolved into a publicly traded entity with a solid asset base of approximately 2.3 billion EC, deposits totaling 1.9 billion EC, and total equity of 215 million EC dollars. With a strong national presence comprising 9 branches, a bureau at the Argyle International Airport, a growing network of 26 ATMs, and over 1,200 point-of-sale machines across the length and breadth of the islands. We are proud of our journey, and more importantly, our commitment to empowering individuals and businesses across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. As a bank regulated by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank and adhering to its prudential standards, you would imagine that we have limitations on how much we can lend to any single borrower or group of related borrowers. No more than 25% of our capital base. Despite these constraints, we have steadfastly supported the growth of our commercial sector, financing large retail businesses, construction ventures, and tourism investments, just to name a few. This reflects our dedication to fostering sustainable economic growth and supporting diverse business opportunities across our country. At BOSVG, we understand that security is key to building trust and maintaining long-term relationships with our clients. That's why we continually prioritize investment in fraud prevention technologies to protect the assets and interests of our customers. You can therefore trust that your investments are safeguarded by prudent risk management practices, allowing you to engage in your financial journey with confidence. With such a diverse client base, we are always focused on offering a comprehensive suite of financial services tailored to meet your needs. Our deposit services offer corporate accounts along with multi-currency options, providing businesses with the flexibility to manage multiple currencies, reduce exchange risk, and simplify international transactions. Our digital banking services offer a secure, intuitive platform that puts your finances at your fingertips. With multi-factor authentication and advanced encryption, you can bank with confidence whether you're transferring funds locally, across the OECS, sending international wires, paying credit cards, topping up mobile phones for family and friends, or securely messaging the bank about sensitive matters. All of this is packaged in one seamless experience. For those seeking reliable card services, we offer Visa-branded cards that meet the highest international security standards, as we are fully ISO and PCI compliant. This means that every transaction you do is safeguarded by the latest encryption technologies and fraud prevention measures. Beyond traditional banking, We also provide e-commerce services and cross-border transaction capabilities. Of course, we are an indigenous bank. Therefore, we accomplish this through a trusted network of correspondent banks who partner with us to facilitate international transfers and foreign currency exchanges. Now we understand that when we invite you to invest, we are asking you to invest where your heart is, at home. And we know that for this vision to become reality, access to capital is essential. That's where BOSVG also comes in. We offer a comprehensive range of credit solutions for both individuals and businesses, tailored to support investment and growth in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. From overdraft facilities to letters of credit, our services are designed to provide the flexibility that businesses need to manage cash flow, facilitate trade, and operate confidently within the local market. As a testament of our commitment to driving economic growth, we have partnered with our regional counterparts to offer syndicated lending facilities. So rest assured, we don't stop returning your calls when the numbers get bigger. These partnerships allow us to provide large-scale funding for transformative projects and ambitious investments that deliver lasting impact. Since the inception of the Eastern Caribbean Securities Exchange, BOSVG has been an intermediary entity providing brokerage services to our customer base. This has opened up additional investment opportunities locally and in the regional market as customers are able to access a wide range of securities such as shares, corporate bonds, government debt, and treasury bills. And we've recently added mutual funds as we partner with Bank of St. Lucia Investment and Unit Trust Corporation. So with this range of securities and financial instruments, investors can diversify their portfolios while benefiting from the Eastern Caribbean Securities Regulatory Commission's transparency, regulatory oversight, and growth potential. We know that as customers and potential investors, you no doubt may be curious about our fee structure. Well, at BOSVG, we pride ourselves on offering transparent and highly competitive fees. And so, with nothing to hide, a full list is available for download on our website. We believe in clear upfront pricing to help you make informed decisions, ensuring no surprises as you grow and expand your business in our market. In conclusion, what we hope today that you take away is that BOSVG is a trusted partner, fully equipped to support your investment journey. From foundational banking services and foreign exchange solutions to modern digital platforms and cross-border connectivity, while we may operate with prudent regulatory parameters, our strength lies in flexibility, responsiveness, and a deep understanding of the local and regional business environment. Most importantly, we are a bank that believes in the power of partnership. We believe in your ideas, your ambitions, and your continued connection to home. Whether you are taking your first step into investing in St. Vincent and the Grenadines or expanding an existing venture, Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines stands ready to work with you, to listen, to advise, and to help turn opportunity into successful outcomes. Our team is here today to answer your questions, explore possibilities, and begin meaningful conversations. We invite you to engage with us, provide your feedback, and allow us to be a part of your success story. Come and have a chat with us at the booth. Thank you.
Now that was money where their mouths are, right? So we're now going to have a short video from the CEO of Mr. Keon Thomas of the Building and Loan, who could not be here with us, but he definitely wants to let you know how he wants to work with you.
This is just the beginning. I'm Keon Thomas, CEO of St. Vincent Building and Loan Association, and it has been 1 year since I stepped into this role. It has been a year of reflection, action, and meaningful progress. And today, I want to share with you some of the key strides that we've made together. Progress is not only about systems, it's also about how we present ourselves. We've begun upgrading our physical infrastructure to reflect the modern, forward-thinking institution we are becoming. As you move through Kingstown, you will notice a refreshed space, one that's welcoming, professional, and aligned with our vision for the future. Because we believe that how we look should match who we are becoming. From day one, my focus has been clear. Strengthen the foundation of the association, modernize our services, and ensure that every member feels confident that their financial future is in safe hands. I understood early on that progress would require both addressing long-standing challenges and embracing new opportunities. And I'm proud to say that we're making headway in achieving both. One of the most important issues we tackled was a matter of permanent shares. In August 2025, my team and I submitted a comprehensive plan to the Financial Services Authority outlining how we plan to tackle this critical issue. This represents a major step forward in beginning bringing clarity and resolution to an issue that has been top of mind for many of our members. We're now eagerly awaiting feedback from the regulator, but we're committed to keep you informed every step of the way. At the same time, my team and I took decisive action to strengthen our financial resilience. In alignment with regulatory requirements, we enhanced our liquidity risk management framework. Simply put, we have put additional safeguards in place to ensure that even in the face of unexpected challenges, the association remains stable, secure, and capable of meeting your needs without interruption. Your funds are not only working for you, they are protected with greater foresight and planning than ever before. I also recognize the importance of reconnecting with our members beyond our shores. Through a strategic partnership with Invest SVG within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, my team have been actively reaching out to the diaspora community. The message is simple and clear. The association is open for business and ready to serve Vincentians wherever you are in the world. This initiative is about inclusion, opportunity, and ensuring that distance is no barrier to financial access. Perhaps one of our most exciting developments this year is our digital transformation journey. We're now in the final stages of launching eConnect, our new digital suite of services that will bring mobile banking, ATM services, and other digital solutions directly to you. This means greater convenience, faster access, and the ability to manage your finances anytime, anywhere. Whether you're in Kingstown or overseas, the association will quite literally be in the palm of your hands. Equally important is what's happening inside the association. There is a notable shift in our culture, brighter faces, renewed energy, and a stronger sense of purpose. Our team is more focused than ever on delivering value to you, our members. We want you to feel confident that your funds are not only earning competitive returns, but are also secure and managed with care and responsibility. As we reflect on this past year, I want to thank you, our members and customers, for your continued trust and support. While we're proud of how far we've come, this is just the beginning. The foundation has been strengthened, the direction is clear, and the future is full of opportunity. We remain committed to build an association that works for you today, tomorrow, and for generations to come. Thank you, and I look forward to what we will achieve in the year ahead. This is just the beginning.
Thank you to Building and Loan Association. And for any questions that you may have after, and we're getting there, you can see Miss Jack at the booth. I'm now going to turn my attention briefly to Miss Roberta Brown-Henry of the NIS to speak about the benefits of joining.
Good evening, everyone. please allow me to adopt the protocol that has already been established. And I must say it is indeed a pleasure to be here in the British Virgin Islands and on behalf of the National Insurance Services of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I thank Invest SVG and other partners for creating this opportunity to engage with Vincentians living and working here. My colleague and I went into town today. We saw a lady in a t-shirt with the NIS flag on it. It gave us an opportunity to connect with her. And this forum has given us an opportunity to connect with you, our fellow Vincentians. The NIS is a key part of our country's social protection system, providing financial support across life's events such as sickness, maternity, employment injury, retirement, invalidity, and death. Today, I will focus on the Overseas Voluntary Contributor Program and what it means for Vincentians living overseas. This program allows eligible nationals abroad to continue contributing or to start contributing to the NIS. In practical terms, it helps you maintain or build your contribution record, which is essential for qualifying for benefits later on. There are two main requirements. You must be between 16 and pensionable age, and you must be a Vincentian living overseas. For those who qualify, the key benefits available under this program are the age benefit, which could be in the form of a pension, which would be payments for life, or a grant, which is a lump sum payment. Also, we have the funeral grant and the survivor's benefit, which can be in the form of either a pension or a grant. These benefits are designed to provide protection later in life and for your family when it matters most, reflecting our broader commitment to protecting you in uncertain times. The contribution rate is currently 12.84%, with payments made monthly or quarterly based on selected income categories. Contributors may adjust their category over time, and it is important to keep contributions up to date to maintain eligibility. It is also important to note that benefits are not automatic. Qualifications depend on meeting contribution requirements, which may vary by year of birth. For example, persons born in 1964 and after must meet a pensionable age of 65 and have at least 750 weekly contributions. That's approximately 15 years of contributions. Registration is straightforward. Complete the application form, submit the required documents, and select from the available payment options that best suit your circumstances. Our team is available to guide you through the process. The theme of this outreach is "Home is where the heart is." Many of you have built lives and livelihoods here in the BVI, and that matters. But maintaining a connection to home can also be about making practical, forward-looking decisions, ensuring that you and your families have a measure of protection that reaches you beyond where you are today. Before I close, I should also mention that the NIS has 88 prime lots available in Spring Estate, Beckway, as part of its broader investment and development portfolio. These lands range between 9,000 and 11,000 square feet. So if you are interested in learning more or registering your interest, we invite you to speak with our team. From the NIS side, we are here to support you, answer your questions, walk you through your options, and help you to make informed decisions about your future. Thank you, and we look forward to engaging with you.
Well, we had a lot to offer you tonight, and I hope you were taking notes as to how you're going to take advantage of that. Please visit NIS, Building a Loan, and the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines when we're finished. Now, we have arrived at the most anticipated moment of this evening, which is our feature address as we wrap up. Now, agriculture, forestry, and rural development, these are not just government portfolios. They are the roots of who we are as a people. They are the land our grandparents worked, the food that built our bodies, and increasingly the economic frontier that holds some of the most exciting investment opportunities in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Our feature speaker tonight is a man who understands that the future of St. Vincent's economy is deeply connected to how we steward that land. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to the Honorable Israel Bruce, Minister of Agriculture, Forestry, and Rural Development.
After all, I didn't have to adjust this microphone too much. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. His Excellency Kevin Hope, Ambassador of Finance and Investment and Chairman of the Board of Invest SVG, Ms. Kathleen Bowman Penn, representing the Honorable Marlon Penn and my former teacher, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, Foreign Investment, and Diaspora Affairs, Ms. Sandy Peters Phillips, Executive Director of Invest SVG, Madame Anna Young, Ms. Jacqueline Archibald, Overseas Representative, His Excellency Alan Alexander, Director of Diaspora Affairs, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, Foreign Investment, and Diaspora Affairs, Ms. Okolo John Patrick, Director of Foreign Trade in that extended ministry, Mr. Crystal Primus, Head of Private Sector Development, Ms. Patricia John, Marketing and Communications Manager, BOSVG, representatives of National Properties, NIS, Building and Loan Association, Invest SVG, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon or good evening. I know you've been sitting here for quite a while, and on the minds of some people, it's time to have a drink. It's probably time to have some food. For some people, it's time to go to Paraquita Bay. Others want to go to Horsepath. Some want to head to Sick House Bay. Some want to go to Fat Hogs Bay. Others want to head up to Greenland. Some want to go to Morgan's Bay. Huh? And I know someone said, but you didn't call where I live, you didn't call that place. So if you're living in Hampton Guts, it's all right. Yeah? If you're living in Greenland, it's fine. If you live Beef Island, relax. Good. So ladies and gentlemen, I take great pleasure in accepting this responsibility here tonight to talk to you on an important event. I'm also equally aware that there are some very important people in this room. I want to recognize Ms. Juliet Giles of Greg's and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I want to recognize Mr. Mark Vanterpool. I want to recognize Mr. We just keep calling him Hezi. I don't know why I just keep calling him Hezi. Huh? Tom Peters, that's the full name. And, you know, if you come to Tortola and you want to find some time to shake a leg, once upon a time, it used to be Balanced Promotions. Still is. Very well. Thank you so much. Give me a second. I think my whole system has just avoided me. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished Vincentians, respected investors, Vincentians of the BVI Diaspora, friends of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, ladies, gentlemen, good evening. It is for me a privilege to stand before you in the British Virgin Islands, a place where Vincentians have not only lived, but you have thrived. A place where you have built businesses, where you have raised families, and you have contributed to the growth and development of this territory. And yet, no matter how long you've been here, no matter how many trips you took up Joe's Hill, you still say, I think I want to go home next month. I'm planning to go home for Carnival. Next year I pass and me now go home. You know why? You say all of this simply because home is where the heart is. Tonight, I stand here before you to speak to each and every one of those hearts. So hearts, open up, hear me. I've got a message for each and every one of your heart. You know, for those of you who took the opportunity to watch Bashment Granny, you remember that? Yes. You remember Granny had an art, and Granny's art had a problem. And so they were trying to find a new art for Granny. I don't want anything to be wrong with your hearts tonight because I want to speak to those hearts. I also want to speak to your heritage and to your business instincts because St. Vincent and the Grenadines, ladies and gentlemen, is ready for investment, ready for transformation. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is simply ready for you. And you, St. Vincent and the Grenadines is ready for you. You know, a few weeks, if not a month or so ago, I traveled, and I apologize, I'm struggling with this cold that decided it was going to attack me a day before the event, but I am a fighter. A few weeks ago, I traveled to Nigeria to attend an important event where agricultural ministers and cultural ministers attended an African Caribbean forum. And principally at that meeting, we had quite a lot of discussion about how Africa and the Caribbean can connect. I want you to get the vibes, get the J. The fact is that Africa is seen and treated as our motherland, yes? And here is a motherland saying to us, we can find ways in which we can make life better for you in St. Vincent where you have gone from the motherland, be it voluntary or not. Seems strikingly similar that we are here today to say to Vincentians who have nestled in the British Virgin Islands and BV Islanders who understand the aspirations of a beautiful Caribbean, that we are asking you to invest in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Madam CEO, I thank you for your clarification, because it has to be understood that our message is not one where we say to you, pack your suitcase, get on into Caribbean, and hop down to Antigua, Barbados, come to St. Vincent, and if you have your auntie living in a two-room house, come and jam up with your auntie. That's not what we're asking you to do. This is what we're saying. We are saying to the Jacqueline Archibalds of the world, don't make your millions in the British Virgin Islands and put it at First Bank simply to sit. Don't leave it at Banco Popular simply to take a ride. Don't leave it at CIBC. Don't leave it at Virgin Islands Bank. No. I have said to you that you need to make your money talk. Look, do I have the authority to talk to you on this subject matter? Do I? Well, I believe that I have that authority, because as a Vincentian, I am living in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But if you drive into Road Town, and as you go past the roundabout, just opposite Bobby's supermarket, you will see a rectangular label that says Bruce and Associates. Yes? Why did I refer you to that? I refer you to it simply because I, as a Vincentian, I am living in St. Vincent, but I am investing in the British Virgin Islands. Am I? Good. So when I say to Mr. Mark Van der Poel of MHV Hotels and Resorts, and I say, Mark, the fact that you're born in the British Virgin Islands does not stop you from investing in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Because, brother, I'm investing here. I am paying people to work in my office. I'm investing. I am buying paper and ink from stationery houses in the BVI. I am investing. I am paying rent to the landlords. I'm investing. I'm paying telephone bill. I'm paying light bill. I'm investing. So I am investing in the British Virgin Islands. So I don't want you to tell me I am not a Vincentian, so I can't invest in St. Vincent. Let's get ready to invest in sweet SVG. So I go back to reconnect with what I started to tell you about Nigeria. And there's a gentleman at that forum, his name is Dorian Dash. You probably have heard the name before. Involved in the real estate business, in online business, in musical production, all of it. Dorian has a very wide portfolio. And as part of the engagement, Dorian has taken the decision that he is prepared, he and his company quite naturally, to invest, I think it's $20 billion in the Caribbean to allow for our artisans who are serious. So here what? We talking investment? Mirage Production, Carnival in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But every year you will hear scream, we don't have a house to do our artwork. We don't have a place to house our tents. What is stopping you from saying Mirage Production must be a business? It must take on a business-like approach. And you can say to yourself, Tom Peters, that I have some experience in management. I could borrow money through Dorian Dash's portfolio, and I could take over Mirage Productions as the CEO and make sure that Mirage Production delivers as a business but contributes to the cultural art form. What's stopping you, brother? Home is where the heart is. The Nigerian Development Agricultural Bank, said, we are prepared to make monies available for agricultural development in the Caribbean. What's stopping you? Not just as an individual, maybe as collectives. You can access monies through the Nigerian Development Bank once you decide that you're serious about taking part in investment opportunities in St. Vincent. Everybody knows that we are importing far too much food into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But talking about it does not stop it. It requires a concerted effort. It requires a conscientious effort on the part of us in the BVI, as Vincentians and as Caribbean citizens, to say, look, can I not stop St. Vincent and the Grenadines from importing millions of dollars in poultry? Can I invest? I wanted to say hell yes, but I didn't want to use the word hell. But indeed, you can invest in that area. You don't have to have the raw cash in your hands. There is no reason why Devon Latin should be spending his most productive years making First Bank a multi-million-dollar bank in the British Virgin Islands and not come home to St. Vincent and the Grenadines and recognize Devon that home is where your heart is. We, as Vincentians, have invested heavily in the British Virgin Islands. You heard it before. Teachers, nurses, construction workers, radio announcers, television producers, police officers. And even if we are in a small category, lawyers. So my friend, let's have this very brief conversation. You know, not too long ago, I was in Owia, St. Vincent. And I met a gentleman. And he has been planting arrowroot for more than half a century. That's what he told me. And he said, Minister, when I was a boy, arrowroot used to send my children to school. Now, it can send them to university. He handed me a hot badongo bake, fresh off the coal pot. And I took one bite of it. One bite. And he said, this thing could give BVI Johnny Cake some serious competition. So he laughed. He said, no, 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 Minister, I am serious. And I said to him, we don't need to give Johnny Cake any competition. What we need to do is to have Madongo Bake in partnership with Johnny Cake. And I don't know if Simon is here from One Mart. Is Simon here? He's not here. But just in the event that Simon was here, I wanted Simon to hear me that Madongo is made from pure Vincentian arrowroot flour. It can sit in the same restaurant. It can sit in your same little snacket. This side here has Johnny Cake, and this side has Madongo Bake. Partnership. What that does is not create unnecessary competition. What it does, it expands your menu at Kingarden Bay hotels. It gives an opportunity for your guests to enjoy something that is gluten-free. Huh? You can have it with some stewed chicken. You can have it with some well-done saltfish. You could do it with some, if you love the fried chicken, have some fried chicken and Madongo beans. But I don't want you to just hear me say this. I am saying it to say to you that this is an opportunity for investment. You must see the pathway that I'm speaking to. So what is stopping you, Casita? What's stopping you from saying, I could bring me 10 boxes of Madongo out of St. Vincent every month and talk to the little snacket up at Paramtown? Talk to the little snacket right after the police station here in East End. Nothing stops you from doing that and creating for yourself right here in the British Virgin Islands a small business as a second stream of income. But as you're doing that, you are supporting the agricultural economy of St. Vincent and the Grenadines as an investor. And so some people may ask, why invest in agriculture? So let me speak rather plainly to this subject. My friends, my brothers, Vincentian brothers and sisters, and my brothers and sisters of the British Virgin Islands, the global food industry is worth over US $8 trillion. I did not say million. I did not say billion. I said trillion. But guess what? Our Caribbean, that includes St. Vincent and the Grenadines and Tortola, British Virgin Islands, imports US $6 billion in food every year. Every year. Well, BVI, the truth is, You import practically everything that you need for survival. So let's have this conversation. I ask you to, as you listen to me, to look for the opportunity in this conversation. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, what do we have? We have fertile land. We have abundant water. We have a skilled farming community. We have a government that is committed to the modernization of our agricultural sector. And we are strategically located close to the regional market. But here is what is key. We are underproducing compared to our potential. The gap between what we can produce and what we are producing is where the opportunity lies. I want to say to you that the investment opportunities are real, they are tangible, and they are ready. So let me outline sectors where you, as investors, can invest immediately in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. 1, large-scale poultry production. I've already told you that the region imports millions of dollars in chicken annually. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is ready, as I speak tonight, for broiler farms. We are ready. You know when you open a food outlet in the BVI, you could almost bet your money up to at least 80% of that money that you are going to have a thriving business. Because food sells in the BVI. Even if it is 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock in the night, you see fellas with the styrofoam box and the plastic bag. They dress well down, a jacket on time, but they have that bag going home. So food sells, you know food sells. Just as you have confidence in opening up a food establishment in the BVI, I can say to you that the amount of money we spend importing poultry products in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you could almost bet your dollar that your investment is going to be what your investment is going to be. Government will ensure that we secure the necessary land space. You bring in your factory. We will provide the enabling environment. So the tax concessions and the custom waivers will be ready and waiting for you. And I say, I don't want to call his name too often tonight, because people might think I'm targeting him. But if I have to call his name, I'll call his name. There is absolutely nothing that stops Walmart, for example, from deciding that Walmart will go to St. Vincent. We provide the lands. You set up your poultry plants, produce poultry enough to serve St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and to export to all the Walmarts in the British Virgin Islands. But if I don't call Mr. Vanderpool's name, it doesn't stop you, Vincentians who are here, to team up in your 3, 4, 5, 6 and say, look, we would come together, create a partnership, and invest as a partnership in the country where your heart is. There is also the need for processing plants in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And nothing stops Winston Finley, or his brother Dalpin, nothing stops them from saying, look, all these years we've spent in the BVI, we have collateral that could allow us to find $40 million and go to St. Vincent and set up a complex processing plant. Why should we, Dalpin? Why should we have mangoes, plum rolls, golden apples, all of that falling to the ground, rotting away? And you know how to make money? You don't have to leave the BVI. Again, I remind you, like Colonel Sanders and KFC, Bruce and associates in the BVI has to continue to live. I am not living here. So Dalpin, you and Winston, you don't have to come home. Stay right here. Make your money here in the BVI and make your money in St. Vincent. One money, two money. But I want you to understand that I'm speaking to the marriage of two critical life issues. You, as investors, the Finleys, but you would also be creating employment opportunities for young Vincentians. And as you do so, you too will be helping us in reducing our import bill. You know the amazing thing that traffickers in St. Vincent buy our mangoes, rush across to Trinidad, sell them to Trinidad. A gentleman in a room just bigger than the space I'm standing in cuts it, the mangoes through, dump them in a tub with some red coloring, dips them out, put them in a regular plastic bag, seal it, send it back to St. Vincent, and we buy it and give our children for their recess. So hear me. I am not apologizing for this. Dalpin, you and your brother should not allow this to continue. You should own a multi-million-dollar factory in St. Vincent that can juice our fruits, that could powder those fruits, that could pulp those fruits. Huh? Are you hearing me over there? Yes. Good. So as you lie in your respective beds tonight with your wives or girlfriends, whoever you have, start the conversation. How do I find 20 and you find 20? And come to St. Vincent, let's have a conversation. Yeah? You see, my friend, with the right investment in poultry and the likes, I'm not speaking to just a theory. I am talking about a demand that is waiting for supply. That's what I'm talking about. And the businessmen and women in this house know that where the demand is high and the supply is low, then we say the what? The price is? The price is right. Once the price is right, why not? Keep that in mind. My friends, in aquaculture, this is the new gold mine. Aquaculture is one of the fastest growing food sectors in the world. And St. Vincent and the Grenadines has ideal conditions for tilapia, freshwater prawns, aquaponics, ornamental fish, and the list goes on. ideal opportunities. You know, a few days ago, a team from Invest SVG visited the Caribbean Sustainable Fisheries Plant here in the British Virgin Islands. It is a beautiful project. So why you want to stay in the British Virgin Islands and say, oh, Tortola has a beautiful project of this sort? So go out by St. Vincent? Look, my friends, pull your acts together and let us invest in this business. I mean, these guys at Caribbean Sustainable Fisheries here, they're doing a marvelous job. But it would be beautiful for us, my friends, to have something of that sort right in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And when it comes to Tortola, or you see it in Antigua, or you see it in New York, mark, made in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you know that you're rocking the 784. We have great opportunities for climate smart farming. They offer, or that particular category or style of farming offers us year-round production, protection from the weather, consistent quality, and high yields. So you can be guaranteed returns on your investment. Agro-processing, turning raw produce into high-value products. Some of you here can't tell the last time you had a good slice of roast breadfruit. Some of you can't tell the last time you had a good slice of cooked breadfruit. But there's nothing stopping you. The fact that you live in the British Virgin Islands should not stop you. So here what? Right now, at Lauder's, we have just equipped a facility in Lauder's with machinery that would be focused solely on processing breadfruit. Wash the breadfruit, dry the breadfruit, slice the breadfruit, pouch the breadfruit, ready the breadfruit for market. We're doing part of it. And there's nothing that stops you from saying, every month we want a container load, a 20-foot container load of frozen breadfruit, ready to go in the pots. There's nothing to stop you. In Lacqua and Langley Park, we've also equipped 2 centers to deal with root crops. Peeling the root crop, dicing the root crop, poaching the root crop, ready for your pots in Tortola. But again, if you're going to invest in bringing breadfruit here, somebody else decide they will invest in bringing the machine. And so, my friend Juliet, you can't work all your young life in Tortola and come home to Greg's and smile your pretty face that we know you have. We want you to take some of the money you have up here in Tortola and import Dashin into the British Virgin Islands and sell, and you become your own businesswoman right here in Tortola. But you know the beauty about that? The farmers in Marfat and in Tibiru and Waterfall, you would be putting money in their pockets. You will be stopping some crimes that are happening in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But whilst you're doing that, you're making more money right here in Tortola. That's what you call a win-win. pepper sauce. I just had some discussions with some colleagues out of the United States of America. Right now, we can't produce the amount of pepper, hot peppers that they want. We can't. And in a matter of a few weeks, I'm hoping to sign a memorandum of understanding with them for the production of hot peppers in St. Vincent. Some of you in this room have lands in St. Vincent sitting idle. Why? So when I say investment, my friends, when I ask you Vincentians who are living here to invest, it doesn't mean that you have to go to the bank and borrow money and run to say, look, I have some money, what can I do with it? Invest the lands that you have at home. If you're not going to be doing it yourself, then lease it out. Let somebody plant peppers on it and make a living, whilst you're up here making your living and collecting the lease for your land instead of leaving it idle in St. Vincent. Some of you have homes in St. Vincent that are locked up for years. But the tourism industry, we want to be able to accommodate people. Open it up. Bed and breakfast. You stay in Tortola and make money from your house, whilst you're still making money in Tortola. One money, two money. My friends, I mentioned earlier in my introduction, I spoke to the Madongo Bakes. But I don't want you to think that I am joking about it. You know, if you go to Barbados and you go into St. Lawrence Gap on a Friday evening, what they have there? You see? You see? You guys know. You're not Bajans, God blank. You're Tortolans and Vincentians, but you know on a Friday at St. Lawrence Gap in Barbados is Fish Friday. Fish Friday. I have an idea for the people in this room who either have snackets, restaurants, or hotels. You can decide that you're going to have Madongo Mondays. Anybody hear me? You can decide that you're going to have Madongo Mondays. Let your customers know you don't get Madongo this Monday, you have to wait until next week Monday. We can package Madongo baked mixes. We can have arrowroot-based snacks. And all this would help the agricultural sector in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. But guess what? We're looking for a few, not a lot of money, man, not a lot. We're looking for a couple $1 million to outfit a new arrowroot factory in St. Vincent. For those of you who are following, when we had the volcanic eruption in St. Vincent in 2021 it was, our arrowroot factory got totally destroyed. We've already put back a brand new shed. We just spent over $1 million to do it. We're talking roughly 7-8 million Eastern Caribbean dollars, so not a lot of money. You see, don't become shy with investments. Donald Foyle once told a story in St. Vincent. He said, as a basketballer, when you get to the rim, you are faced with two choices. You can shoot for yourself, or you can pass it to His Excellency Kevin Hope, and let him try and shoot it. So you could take the risk out of your hand and put it in Kevin's hand. But he said, even in going up and trying to dunk that ball, a defender may block you. And you'd hear everybody in commentary land saying how selfish you are. But he said, if you go up and you dunk it successfully, you'll hear how much of a superstar you are. You know why? He said, a simple reason is, I took the risk to go up and to dunk it. So as simple as that. Life is about risk. So don't tell me $8 million is a risk. When you leave here, you go into your car and you're heading home, that's a risk. Some of you plan to go to some trip in Vegas next week. When you put your foot on that plane, that's a risk. So let's take a risk in arrowroot production and marketing in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. St. Vincent arrowroot is sought the world over. So it is not an investment that you have to be frightened for. The government is prepared to partner with whoever you are so that we could outfit that arrowroot factory and start getting arrowroots going. Madongo, right here in Tortola, across the Caribbean. I tried to get some Madongo here for this session. You know what I was told? The last set that they produced, they were already ordered out in Kingston. So I couldn't get any to come to Tortola to be displayed here. It tells you what? So fast they make the Madongo, so fast the Madongo gone. So why not invest? Take that risk. It is a small risk to invest in that particular sector. Land leases and land purchases, I think I spoke to that before. The government currently is looking at the kaleidoscope of lands that are government owned. Not only for major projects like hotels, but for agricultural development. So we spoke to the poultry farm. Lands available for lease, you set up your poultry farm. Lands available for lease, you set up your pig farm or your goat farm. I spoke to a gentleman today, and he said to me, I am not joking. He's ready, right here in Tortola, ready to import hundreds of goat to set up a goat farm in St. Vincent. I am not trying to trick you, I'm just trying to tell you, don't get left behind. St. Vincent is ripe for business. The doors are open and I want you to capitalize. Now, let me close by saying this to you. Why the BVI-SVG partnership makes perfect sense. The BVI has a strong tourism industry. The BVI has high demand for fresh produce. The BVI has limited agricultural land. Fact, yes? St. Vincent, we do have agricultural lands. We have a fair supply of water. We have an abundance of farmers, and we have the capacity to produce. That is what you call a natural partnership in the making, St. Vincent and the BVI. And that marriage has started, 784-284. So my friends, this is what we want to see. Vincentian Dasheen on the shelves at Walmart. Vincentian sweet potato, although don't try to say I only targeted Walmart, Before you accuse me of that, Vincentian sweet potatoes on the shelves at Right Way. Vincentian seasoning on the shelves at Bobby's. Vincentian juices across all supermarkets. Vincentian frozen products in hotels and kitchens across the BVI. Vincentian Madongo Bakes offered at Kid Garden Bay Hotel. My friends, this is not wishful thinking. This is achievable with the following. 1, proper packaging. 2, consistent supplies. 3, quality standards. 4, export logistics. And 5, business partnerships. And that right there is where you come in. To the businessmen and women in this room, you understand risk. You understand return. You understand timing. The timing for investment in agriculture in St. Vincent and the Grenadines right now is perfect. Let me tell you why. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand that consequential on what is happening between Iran, the USA, and Israel, you begin to feel it in your pocket at the pumps. And you will feel it in your mouth very soon. Because the amount you were eating 2 months ago, you'd have to eat less because the cost of your food is going to increase. So there will be a rise in demand for food. Our import bills will be rising. But climate smart farming will also be expanding. And regional governments have already prioritized food security. Consumers want local, organic, Caribbean-grown foods. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is currently modernizing our agricultural sector. This is not a gamble. This is a strategic investment. My friends, the future of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is not only in the hands of those who live there. Shall I repeat? The future of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is not only in the hands of those who live there. It is also in the hands of those who live here in the British Virgin Islands. You know why? Because you carry St. Vincent and the Grenadines in your hearts. And that brings me back to the phrase that defines the spirit of our diaspora. Home is where the heart is. Your heart has never left St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Your heart is in the soil that feed you. Your heart is in the communities that raised you. Your heart is in the dreams you still hold for your homeland. So tonight, I want to invite you to invest in agriculture. Invest in agro-processing. Invest in poultry production. Invest in aquaculture. Invest in fruit pulping and powder manufacturing. Invest in export logistics. Invest in land development. Invest in the future of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Not because you have to, but because you can. Because you believe in your country. Because your heart has never stopped belonging to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So let's build a future together. Let us imagine a future where Vincentian products will be on shelves across the Caribbean, where our farmers earn stable incomes, where our youth see agriculture as a career of dignity and innovation, where our diaspora becomes a global economic force, where the BVI and St. Vincent and the Grenadines strengthen our partnership, and our nation stands tall, not as a small island, but as a smart island, a productive island, a resilient island, a prosperous island. My friends, this is not a distant dream. This is a future within our reach. So tonight, let us plant the seeds of progress. Let us cultivate the fields of opportunity. Let us harvest prosperity for generations to come. Because in the end of the day, or at the end of the day, at the beginning of every journey, we know one unforgivable truth. And that truth is, home is where your heart is. Thank you very much and good night.
Thank you so very much, Minister Bruce, not just for your address, but for the blueprint that you have clearly laid out for us here tonight. And for those looking at agro-processing or land development, I hope you are taking very good notes. The minister said, what is stopping you? Now, maybe that may be lack of information or not seeing yourself as part of the conversation as an investor, but you are. And in terms of the information, I wanted to bring your attention to the boarding pass that you were given when you entered this evening. Definitely keep those close to you, because the QR code that is on the boarding pass for investment holds information in terms of how you can invest, how to start a business. And we'll be continually adding information to those boarding passes as we continue this journey for diaspora engagement. Now, I know that we've had your attention for a long time, and this was never meant to be a one-way conversation. We definitely want to hear from you. And we're going to open up the floor for some questions, and it's going to be moderated by Mr. Alejandro Tesorero. I must say thank you so very much for indulging me. I was your Madame of Ceremonies, but I'm passing on to Mr. Alejandro now. Thank you.
Now, I know that we're here in the BVI, but what I see in front of me is a room of brothers and sisters from our homeland back in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So I would just like to say a warm good evening to every single Vincentian here in the BVI. Good evening. So, as Shanna mentioned, and she always likes to pass on these speaking engagements to myself, I feel like Batman because we have no Robin on the Invest SVG team. So we are now going to go ahead and start our question and answer segment. And before we do so, I would like to raise a few ground rules before we go ahead and do so, just to keep things tight and succinct. I'm aware that time is going, we want to ensure that we ask as much questions as we can and ensure that everybody gets the opportunity to speak, because I'm the communications officer, and like in any good relationship, you must have two-way communication, right? So when you're asking your questions, please try to keep it as tight as possible to 1.5 minutes. Ensure that your question is tailored to investment or something related, because that is what we're speaking about here tonight. And when you ask your question, please state who or what organization you are directing the question to, so that we may invite someone up to the podium to answer that. All right? So, beginning with whoever would like to ask a question first, we have mics in the back. My colleagues Nicholas and Elsa will be walking around with those. And let's ask away. All right, I'll give you all. Oh, we have our first person.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
This is a question for the gentleman who was talking about the banking. My understanding recently is that when you have US dollars in St. Vincent, in a bank in St. Vincent, not sure which bank, that you have to pay the bank, or there is some kind of, I don't know, service charge or something to keep monies in the bank. So what advantages or benefits are there for us to move all US dollars to St. Vincent? I would like him to just tell me if maybe I misunderstood what I heard, or if this is the case.
Okay,
or if it's not with the bank that he's with.
Awesome. Karim, you can just come and take this one. Sorry, before you give back the mic, can you also introduce yourself, please? I don't think you introduced yourself.
My name is Gail Young.
All right.
Thanks, Alejandro. Hi, good night, Ms. Young. Putting into the charge for the deposit of foreign cash, right? It's $2 EC, regardless of the amount. And the service charge on your account would be $3 monthly for the savings account. $3 EC. Well, for the use of the products, remember the bank also as well has to pay for the software. We're bringing new technology to you, and that is coming at a cost as well. So, and I can tell you, it's not only Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You would.
Okay. All right. So thank you to the Bank of St. Vincent for, beginning to answer the question, and to the lady as well. I would just like to remind you. Hi, good evening, everybody. Let's get back to the question and answer segment. So just give me 1 second, please, yeah? All right, so I know that we're all excited to ask away, and just keep in mind, if there's anything that you would like to further discuss with the bank, their booth is also to the side. You can have one-on-one discussions with them after. All right, I see a gentleman over here raising his hand.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. My name is Brad Stewart. This is to Minister Bruce. Minister Bruce, how do I go about acquiring like 20 acres of agricultural land in St. Vincent and Grenadines?
I am so sorry that when I hear words, I start thinking like a lawyer. So that you asked about acquiring lands. Okay, good, right. I thought you were a government by yourself. Now, what is happening now? As I told you, we've asked the chief surveyor at Lands and Surveys Department to capture all the areas where there are existing government lands, either laying idle or may have been leased out, and the persons to whom they have been leased have not been utilizing them. So the whole idea is, once the lands are available, you identify, we tell you where the lands are, you say, look, I'm interested in getting whether an acre here or 2 acres here. You contact the relevant person in the housing ministry, and I guess Attorney General's office will create the lease. You sign your lease, they sign their lease ready to go, you're ready to participate. Yeah?
So in over the river, as in Orange Hill area,
yes.
Do you think that
There's a lot of lands up there.
Yeah, because I'm interested.
You're interested?
Yeah.
What are you interested in doing? Don't tell people your business.
Yeah, but I need like 20 acres agricultural, and it's me and 2 other partners. We doing some investment in agriculture.
I am looking forward to your proposal.
I actually sent my proposal to Siobhan already, and she was supposed to discuss it with you. I don't know if she got on to you.
All right, so as soon as your proposal gets on my desk, the technical people in my ministry and I, we will engage you, and we'll see how quickly we can get this running. We want investment in agriculture.
Thanks.
And let's do it quickly, because I have a gentleman in the United Kingdom who's looking right now for some lands. He wants to get involved in tomato production. He wants to plant a lot of tomatoes. He wants to do tomato puree, tomato ketchup, tomato paste, the whole tomato works. So Get the proposal to be swiftly. Next question. Oh, sorry.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Sorry, before you continue, thank you, Minister Bruce, for your insight. And just to add to that as well, so interested in the agricultural lands, you can also come to Invest SVG for any sort of information or guidance that you need in terms of the investment process back home in St. Vincent, yeah? All right, great. So thank you so much, and I'll now have the next question, please.
Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. I have a few questions. My name is Devon Latine. Mr. Bruce pointed me out earlier, so I have a few questions. One to the banking officials, and I want to piggyback off of Miss Young's question.
Okay, sorry, just before you continue, in the interest of time and keeping it succinct, if you can maybe keep the question to one for now, and we can also have a one-on-one discussion after with the other questions, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys said that you've been doing some tours here, the UK, the US, and I'm sure there will be quite a few individuals who would be interested in various investment products portfolios. How would the investment team go about pulling those ideas, and then so that you don't have too much cooking in the same kitchen, so to speak, trying to do the same investment and then people feeling left out? Because as Mr. Hope rightfully said, there are a lot of bureaucracies in terms of getting to invest, and people don't want to feel left out while they're trying to invest. So how do you go about collating all of the information and having everyone involved at the same time?
Okay, so I believe this question would be directed to Invest SVG.
That's correct.
Right? Okay, I think I can take this question, yeah? So definitely from the standpoint of facilitating investments, Invest SVG tries its best to be a one-stop shop. As our director would have mentioned, there are new policies and legislations that are being put in place by the government to further solidify that and ensure that Invest SVG is that governing authority to consolidate everything in one location. Because I know you would have mentioned bureaucracy and red tape. Invest SVG, we try our best to ensure that we guide you through this process. Investors and potential persons that want to come and do business in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we are not afraid to hold your hand, ensure that you get every single thing done in one location, and try to make the process as simple as possible for any potential investor coming to do business in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I hope that answers your question. And the Invest SVG team, we're also open to one-on-one dialogue after the main session to answer any further questions that you may have. Yeah. All right, next question, please.
Yeah, good night to all.
Good evening.
My name is Gordon Pope. I have a concern, probably a question to the probably the Social Security or INS. I don't know if it's that what it called.
NIS, yeah.
Yes. I've been living here for quite a while, and one of the things that I have concern about, especially with some colleagues that we worked probably over 30 years ago, some of them back in St. Vincent, and we have worked, some have worked, and the money takes out and doesn't pay. And I went to St. Vincent last year, it could have been July, and some of my brethren were saying to me that they did not collect anything because the boss did not pay it in. And that is very unfair. And for me, if you notice me, I approaching my 60, 65, and I concerned about that. You talking about investment to come home and invest, but I already invest here. And it's something that I have to collect. And I don't know if other people in here worrying about it. But that is over almost 40 years I invest here. And I think that it's unfair for us to work here. And then when it comes to collect, some of my brethren home tell me that nothing didn't pay in, and then they didn't receive anything. So I want to know if we could get representation from the Social Security back home to represent us when we present our case, our paper, that we are approaching 65 and nothing in pay. That's my concern.
Okay, thank you for your question, and I'll invite Mr. Richard Lewis from NIS to give a response.
Just to be clear, we're not speaking about contributions from here in BVI. We're speaking about contributions that you would have made and left in St. Vincent.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
But at the same time, we are here talking to Vincentian.
Yes.
We are Vincentian, we contribute out here. So we should have representation from home because somehow to help us.
No, one of the things that we spoke about is the voluntary contribution. You don't contribute from BVI, you don't contribute to St. Vincent National Insurance Services. You contribute to your system here. Okay, St. Vincent is separate. Whatever contributions you would have made back in St. Vincent, it remains there. It remains there. Now, one of the things that we were speaking about is that you could contribute voluntarily now from BVI to St. Vincent to ensure that you get a pension at that time. Now, you raise a point in relation to some persons maybe going home and not, they're not having sufficient or whatever the case is. Now, in that case, it might be a compliance issue because just like anywhere else you go, there might be unreported. But of course, at the point in time, if reported, then we are obligated as an institution, we are obligated to investigate, okay, and look at that. We have a lot of remedies, legal, whatever cases to sort through that. So it's just a matter of reporting. If that's the case, it could be reported. But currently, we encourage you that you could, if you want your pension in St. Vincent and you want a pension from Hato, you could do that by contributing voluntary. The only other thing is that we accommodate right now administratively pensions from BVI. You have a number of persons who return home, and we facilitate their pension from BVI in St. Vincent. We just do the administration. But what you could do after, you could come and have a talk with us and we just clear the issue with that. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so 1 minute. PE 1305, PE 1305. Could you kindly move the car, please? A Mazda truck. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And we will take one more question for this segment for the night. However, you are still free to ask your questions after the segment, one-on-one. All right, please go ahead with your question.
Good night, everyone. My name is Anthea Mackey-Smith. I am going to ask a question to Minister Bruce. In terms of agriculture, I'm into catering. I have a business in catering. And I tried it twice to bring food from St. Vincent. Number one, the packaging is not so good. When we're talking about importing food here, we're thinking about the packaging. Number two, the boat system is not really good. And when the goods them come here most of the time, that's why I stop. They are not good, and you have to pay custom here, even though the box of food is not good. So what can you go about doing that to help us all? Because if we're importing here for our own business and the food not good, we still have to go buy from the supermarkets. That's a loss for us because we have to pay for something that we already paid to get, but we have no use of it.
Thank you very much. And again, tonight's message is saying to you, invest. And I think you're seeing your investment in buying maybe a box of tagine from St. Vincent. Think about you bringing in an entire container. Yes? And I'll tell you why I answer you that way. Because I've heard the complaints too from the supermarket that the packaging of what comes into the British Virgin Islands, the handling on the boats by the time they get here, it's a problem. So I'm accepting that there's that problem. The resolution to that is having your food transported in containerized stuff in that is kept properly. So when they get here, everybody's guaranteed the same quality material as it departs. You don't have to use all the machine that comes in the container, but you get to use for your business, and you also get to sell to the other people. That's the investment we're talking about. But that's right. But let it be clear. One of the things that I am making clear to our marketing arm is that we have to take greater pride in how we prepare, package our food items for export, whether regionally or internationally. And you would see greater details and attention coming in that sphere. You will see some changes coming. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Minister. So the question and answer segment of the program has now finished, and we are now going to close off. First of all, I would like to give a big thank you to everybody who came out tonight. So once again, good evening, everyone. And as we come to the close of the leg of Invest SVG's Diaspora Outreach Program here in the British Virgin Islands, I want to leave with you a thought that has remained at the heart of this entire journey. No matter how far we go, home never truly leaves us. For Vincentians living abroad, home is carried in so many ways. It is in our accent, in our traditions, our food, our music, our work ethic, and the values that shaped us long before we ever left our shores. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is not simply the place where many of us come from. It is part of who we are. Over the course of this engagement, we have been reminded that the bond between our diaspora and home is alive and well. It is evident in your enthusiasm, your ideas, your willingness to contribute, and your genuine interest in the future development of our country, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And that connection is deeply meaningful. At Invest SVG, we recognize that nation building is not confined by geography. The Vincentian story is being written not only at home, but also by those making an impact across the region and around the world. Each of you remains and will continue to be a very important and meaningful part of that story. I would like to extend sincere thanks to all of us who joined us here in Tortola for your time, your openness, and your continued belief in the potential of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Thank you as well to our hosts, partners, and everyone who contributed behind the scenes to make this event possible. I would like to give a special thanks to the Honorable Israel Bruce, the Minister of Agriculture, Forestry, and Rural Transformation, His Excellency Kevin Hope, the Ambassador of Finance and Investment, as well as the Chairman of the Board of Invest SVG, Mrs. Kathleen Bowman-Penn, representing the Honorable Marlon Penn, the Area Representative for District 8, the Permanent Secretary, Ms. Sandy Peters-Phillips, from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Trade, Foreign Investment, and Diaspora Affairs, our Executive Director of Invest SVG, Ms. Anna Young, Ms. Jacqueline Archibald, the Overseas Representative for BVI, His Excellency Alan Alexander, the Director of Diaspora Affairs in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ms. Okolo John Patrick, the Director of Foreign Trade in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Christo Primus, the Head of Private Sector Development, Ms. Patricia John, the Marketing and Communications Manager of the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as well as the entire BOSVG team, representatives of National Properties and NIS, other members of Building and Loan, Invest SVG, members of the media, the Vincentian diaspora, ladies and gentlemen here and listening online, once again, thank you. As we conclude tonight, let this not be the end of a conversation, but the continuation of a relationship. We hope to keep strengthening the ties, fostering new opportunities, and creating more pathways for our diaspora to remain connected and engaged. Wherever life may take us, and however many miles separate us, one thing remains true, that home is where the heart is. Ladies and gentlemen, after this event, we're going to be sending out a post-event survey, so we want to hear from you about how you enjoyed this event and what other opportunities we can collaborate on. We have booths to my right from our partners. We have the Invest SVG booth to my left, as well as virtual reality headsets where you can put them on and experience a virtual tour of the volcano and different areas in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we also have some food and refreshments that we've prepared for you, because we know that although you are hungry for investments, We want to ensure that you leave here with the best experience possible. So once again, thank you to everybody here, safe travels, and thank you once again.